Chapter 1, 3796. Chapter 1, 3796. Translator, Zayamoj. A stream of light fell from the sky and landed on a verdant mountain. Yang Feng opened his eyes and touched his sore head. There was a crimson rhombus-shaped crystal in his hand. He turned to look to the side, where he saw a humanoid robot emitting a golden, metallic luster sitting opposite to him. Begin unlocking. The unlocking procedure is completed. Xizu soul fluctuations cannot be detected. Conclusion: xizu have disappeared. According to the 372 RD article of the regulations, begin the search for a new master. Begin scanning. The eyes of the humanoid robot erupted with crimson light. With it as the core, the light rippled strangely and scattered in all directions. The crimson rhombus-shaped crystal in Yang Feng's hand suddenly erupted with crimson light as well and emitted a strong heat. It's hot. Feeling his right hand burn, Yang Feng's face twisted in pain and he screamed. Shortly after, the scarlet rhombus-shaped crystal strangely flew up into the air and entered his forehead. Yang Feng felt a burst of dizziness wash over him and he fainting. Locked onto the new master gets the first level of authority. The gaze of the humanoid robot flickered and it sat next to Yang Feng. The next morning, when sunshine caressed the ground, Yang Feng woke up. "Master, you're awake." Shortly after he opened his eyes, a voice came from the side. "You're a robot? An AI?" Startled, he looked at the humanoid robot beside him and secretly exclaimed inside, "Master? What does it mean? I don't recall buying a robot." That golden humanoid robot spoke. "I'm a xizu inheritance robot. I am tasked with passing on xizu culture and technology. There are no longer any xizu in the universe. Therefore, I was activated and chose you as my new master in accordance to the regulations." freeupnovel.com. An inheritance robot. An AI. I'm going to make a fortune. Excellent. This is the first genuine AI robot on Earth. Great. I'm going to make a fortune. The eyes of this vulgar Yang Feng erupted with a glint of delight, and he rolled a few times on the ground. A genuine AI robot was definitely a priceless treasure on Earth. As long as you made good use of it, you could easily earn hundreds of millions of RMB. Hundreds of millions of RMB was enough for Yang Feng to spend his life in extreme luxury. Haha, after I get rich, I'll get to enjoy blonde and blue-eyed Western girls, black-haired and pure Eastern girls, luxurious cruise ships, beautiful beaches, world's finest culinary delicacies. I'm going to enjoy them all. I'm such a vulgar person. Yang Feng fantasized about the future while rolling about on the ground. The golden humanoid robot spoke. "Master, I'm regretful to inform you that this isn't Earth. Instead, this is a plane with an assessment grade 10,000 times higher than that of Earth. Using a common expression of Earth, you have transmigrated." Yang Feng's smile stiffened. Blonde and blue-eyed Western girls, black-haired and pure Eastern girls, luxurious cruise ships, beautiful beaches, world's finest culinary delicacies. All these beautiful images immediately burst like a soap bubble. Yang Feng got up from the ground and asked nervously, "How high is your fighting strength?" That golden humanoid robot replied, "Level 3 life forms and below are not my match. According to Earth's standard, lions, tigers, and other ferocious beasts will be blown away with a single punch. However, I'm not a battle robot. The fighting strength of level for battle robots is higher than mine." Yang Feng asked with an unsightly expression, "What are your abilities?" That golden humanoid robot replied, "A master. My abilities have already been engraved into your mind. You only need to concentrate to know my abilities." Yang Feng started to concentrate accordingly. Shortly after, a large amount of information flooded his mind, and he became aware of the golden humanoid robot's overall abilities. The golden robot possessed an extremely formidable computing chip with an astronomically high computing speed. All of Earth's electronic devices put together couldn't measure up to 1/1,000,000th of the golden robot's computing speed. The golden robot's computing chip contained the records of countless information concerning xizu technology. From when the xizu were at their weakest and most inexperienced up to when they were at their most powerful and their technology was the most developed, everything was recorded. It also contained numerous blueprints of weapons. Any of those blueprints could be sold for an astronomical price on Earth and propel Earth's technology in a groundbreaking fashion. Furthermore, this golden robot still possessed a terrifying ability, void creation. So long as there was enough energy, it could create any weapon out of thin air. Yang Feng opened his eyes and stared at the humanoid robot, asking, "What should I call you?" "I'm the 3796th inheritance robot." "Master, you can call me 3796, or give me a name that is more to your liking. Then I'll call you 3796, 3796. Begin mimicry system and take the form of a human." "Yes, Master," replied 3796. It distorted and swiftly took the form of an average-looking human of a build similar to Yang Feng's. New novel chapters are published on freewebnovel.com. Yang Feng continued to give orders. "Begin scanning system. Search for human settlements in the vicinity. If there are none in a scope of 50 kilometers, then search for a place with water without powerful life forms." Even though 3790 SIX's fighting strength was weak, but it possessed a lot of formidable auxiliary abilities, and life form radar was one of its abilities. As long as there was enough energy, the range of its radar could reach 5,000 kilometers. Of course, the larger the range of the radar, the more energy it would consume. Every action of 3796 required the consumption of energy. Naturally, Yang Feng didn't dare to recklessly squander the precious energy. "Yes, Master. Begin scan mode. Scanning the area of 50 kilometers in scope. Consumption: 0.1 kuan of energy per hour." 3790 SIX's eyes flashed with red light and a powerful radar ripple spread with it as the core. Kuan was one of xizu energy measurement units as well as the smallest energy measurement unit. Scan completed. The red light in 3790 SIX's eyes faded, and it pointed to the west. "There is a human settlement 5 kilometers in this direction. There is a corpse on the way to the settlement. The time of death is no more than 9 hours ago." Yang Feng uttered, "Then let's go to the corpse first and gather some information about this world." "Yes, Master." With 3796 taking the lead, they walked for about 1 kilometer before arriving at a remote place, where Yang Feng found the body of a young man. The young man had black hair and black eyes and looked to be 21 or 22 years old. He wore splendid medieval hunting clothing. Yang Feng commanded, "Read his memories." Although 3790 SIX's fighting strength wasn't high, and in fact was the lowest in xizu battle array, but it possessed a lot of fearsome auxiliary abilities. As long as the brain wasn't completely corroded by microorganisms, then it could read the memory of any living creature. One RMB equals 13 cents. Chapter 2 Mask of Shapeshifter. Chapter 2 Mask of Shapeshifter. Translator: Zayamoj. A fine golden tentacle abruptly extended out of 3796 and pierced into the head of the man with Eastern features. Begin memory reading. Consumption: 0.1 kuan of energy per hour. 3796 spoke. 10 seconds later. Memory reading completed. Begin transfer. Yang Feng responded decisively, "Yes." In this unknown world, information and intelligence were exceedingly important. It was extremely dangerous to be oblivious of the world. 3790 SIX's eyes flashed with red light. Shortly after, a large amount of information was directly transferred into Yang Feng's mind. He could freely access the information. The corpse, formerly known as Zhaojiang, was the successor of a baron of the Turandot subcontinent's Fernandro Principality. His fief, the Autumn Leaf Town, lied a short distance away. Zhao Zhang's childhood wish was to become a legendary warlock capable of slaying dragons, and for his name to spread through the entire Tyrannid subcontinent. Only when he grew up did he realize that it was highly improbable for a lesser aristocrat like him to meet such a powerful and mysterious existence like a warlock, let alone become a powerful and honorable warlock himself. After growing up, Zhao Zhang's wish was to cultivate the Thunder Ox art, which was a martial art passed down in his family, to promote to a knight and earn 1,000 gold coins that he would hand over to the Fernandro Principality in order to preserve the Zhao family's aristocratic title. Agayuyobinovel.com. However, it wasn't easy to promote to a knight. Zhao Zhang bitterly cultivated the Thunder Ox art since little, yet in the end, he only managed to promote to an intermediate warrior. God knows how long it would have taken him to become a knight. Yang Feng's eyes glimmered and he said, "This identity is pretty good." In their own fief, Western medieval aristocrats were usually tyrants that could do whatever they pleased. 3796. I recall you having a variety of shape-shifting equipment in your database. Which one is the most cost-effective in the current circumstances? A vial of nano shape-shifting robots requires the consumption of 50 Kuan of energy. With it, you can freely change your appearance, height, and voice. The mask of shapeshifter requires the consumption of 1 Kuan of energy, and it can perfectly alter your face and voice. He took a look at 3,790 SIXS energy reserves, only to find out that 3,790 SIXS current energy reserves were only at 34 Kuan. Once its energy was depleted, 3,796 would have to absorb sunlight to replenish its energy. It would take a lot of time for it to recover all of its power. Yang Feng mused for a moment before saying, "Our height are about the same. In that case, let's go with the mask of shapeshifter." "Yes, master." 3796 extended its right hand, and a suction force sprang up from the middle of its palm. Countless small pebbles as well as all kinds of fine minerals were sucked into the middle of its palm from the ground and condensed into a lump, which then distorted and formed a silk-like mask. Yang Feng put the mask on. The mask twisted and changed into Zhao Zhang's likeness in a breath. "Burn him." After taking Zhao Zhang's clothes and putting them on, Yang Feng looked at Zhao Zhang's body and said faintly, "Yes, master." 3,790 SIXS right hand transformed into a flamethrower, which sprayed a long flame tongue that covered Zhao Zhang's body, and turbulent flames devoured his body. "Zhao Zhang, let me borrow this identity for the time being. In exchange, I'll help you with your revenge if it's not too troublesome." Yang Feng looked at Zhao Zhang's burning body and said indifferently, "Let's go." After Zhao Zhang's body was turned into ashes, he turned around and, along with 3976, went to the Autumn Leaf Town. Autumn Leaf Town was a small town full of Western medieval style. The town's mud roads were full of potholes, and excrement of chickens, ducks, cattle, horses, and other livestock could be seen everywhere. The town's buildings were worn out and were in a worse state than the buildings of China's many villages. Everyone in the small town wore tattered clothes and had wizened yellow faces. They were mostly black-haired and black-eyed Easterners. Their number of blonde and blue-eyed Westerners was fairly small. Tyrannid subcontinent was mainly dominated by Westerners, while black-haired and black-eyed Easterners constituted a marginalized and humiliated minority. When Zhao Zhang's ancestor crossed the ocean and came to the Tyrannid subcontinent, by relying on his status as a great knight and toiling laboriously for the Fernandro Principality's monarch, he was granted the title of Baron. His ancestor led a large number of black-haired, black-eyed, and yellow-skinned Easterners to reclaim some land. And 3 generations of hard work later, the Autumn Leaf Town was finally established. Therefore, the inhabitants of the Autumn Leaf Town were mainly Easterners, which gave Yang Feng a feeling of time-space disorder. "Thank heavens, master, you're back at last." When Yang Feng arrived at the Autumn Leaf Castle, a 50 to 60-year-old man with white hair and white beard welcomed him. The old man was wearing butler attire. Yang Feng took off his coat and handed it to the old man, asking, "Mr. Liu, how much money does the castle have at present?" The butler Liu was an old man who served 2 generations of barons in the Autumn Leaf Castle. He had a clear understanding regarding the Autumn Leaf Castle's finances. The butler Lu contemplated for a moment before replying, Master, at present, the castle still has 456 gold coins. The source of this content is fryouyul.com. In the Turandot subcontinent, 1 gold coin could be exchanged for 20 silver coins or 2,000 copper coins. 456 gold coins was already a huge sum. Yang Feng spoke, Keep 100 gold coins for emergency. Use the rest to immediately purchase iron ore. It will be of great use to me, so bring it back as soon as possible. Startled, the butler Lu said very carefully, Master, the Autumn Leaf Town doesn't yield iron ore. We have to go to the Black Rock Town to purchase iron ore. However, the Black Rock Town's Baron Kirov is our mortal enemy. When he sees us purchase large amounts of iron ore, he'll definitely raise the price substantially. It's very unfavorable for us. It would be better for us to go to the giant stone city to look for other ore merchants and purchase the ore from them. Baron Kirov? Yang Feng carefully flipped through Zhao Zhang's memories before quickly finding the name. Baron Kirov was a dog of the giant stone city's Viscount Harley. With Viscount Harley's help and by resorting to various methods, he encroached on the Zhao family's territory. He was the fiercest enemy of the Zhao family. Zhao Zhang's death was very strange. According to Yang Feng's speculations, Baron Kirov was definitely a suspect. Interesting. The corners of Yang Feng's mouth rose slightly and a touch of excitement flashed past his eyes. He said, Baron Kirov seems to run an usury business. Send someone to contact him. Tell him that I have taken a fancy to the giant stone city's Miss Xuanhuan and want to redeem her. Therefore, with the Autumn Leaf Town as collateral, I want to borrow 5,000 gold coins. The butler Lu was shocked and promptly advised against. Master, Baron Kirov is a vicious person that oppresses others without batting an eye. The monthly interest is at 4% and there's still the compound interest. We can't afford to pay the interest of the 5,000 gold coins. When the time comes, the Autumn Leaf Town will be snatched away by Baron Kirov. Yang Feng's expression turned solemn and he uttered, I have my own considerations. Do as I say. Looking as if he had aged by a dozen years, the butler Lu gave a long sigh, then bowed and left the room. Yes, master. One Shaljaya. Ms. is also a slang for prostitute. Chapter 3 Solar Umbrellas. Chapter 3 Solar Umbrellas. Translator, Zayamoj. The Black Rock Town was located next to the Autumn Leaf Town, and it had several large mines in its surroundings. The Black Rock Town was the wealthiest town of the 38 towns under the giant stone city's administration. A tall, blue-haired and blue-eyed and hook-nosed man with a cold glimmer in his eyes was sitting in a luxurious room. The man sneered, With the Autumn Leaf Town as collateral, that trash Zhao Jiang wants to borrow 5,000 gold coins from me to redeem Miss Sisai? Ha ha! For the sake of a woman. He'll even sell the estate of his ancestors. What a good-for-nothing. The tall Westerner was Baron Kirov, the master of the Black Rock Town. He ruled the Black Rock Town with an iron fist. Upon hearing his name, people in the Black Rock Town would shudder in fear. If I'd known that he's such a waste, then I wouldn't have taken the risk and invited the Black Scorpion to assassinate him. I wasted 500 gold coins. Baron Kirov frowned and muttered doubtfully. The Black Scorpion reported that they murdered Zhao Jiang. What's going on? Did they cheat me? After musing for a good while, Baron Kirov raised his head, looked at the man wearing a butler uniform standing beside him and said, Jerry, go tell Zhao Jiang that I'll only lend him 2,500 gold coins at a monthly interest of 4%. The Autumn Leaf Town is only worth 2,500 gold coins. Furthermore, in 2 months' time, he is to repay the loan, principal and interest included. Jerry responded respectfully and withdrew himself. Yes, master. Kirov revealed a complacent smile. In another 2 months, the Autumn Leaf Town will be in my bag. If this valuable piece of land falls into my hands, It'll net me at least 2,000 gold coins per year. The Autumn Leaf Town possessed a lot of land suitable for farming in its surroundings. Suppressed by Giant Stone City and Baron Kirov, the Zhao family was so poverty-stricken that it couldn't even take out 1,000 gold coins. If Kirov were in control of the Autumn Leaf Town, as long as he managed it a bit and moved a large number of people from other places to reclaim the land, he would be able to gain huge profits. The Autumn Leaf Town. Living as a lesser aristocrat in this alien, backwards world isn't as comfortable as living as an ordinary citizen in modern society. Yang Feng sighed gloomily as he walked the Autumn Leaf Town streets. In this alien world, there was no television, internet, or beverages. This world was extremely lacking in terms of entertainment. Breakfast was white bread with potato soup, lunch was also white bread with potato soup, and dinner was white bread with meat broth. Yang Feng had eaten this kind of food for several days now. He felt that his digestive system was getting sick of it. However, after seeing the black bread and water that the Autumn Leaf Town's residents had to constantly ingest over the years, he felt that his food was already quite good. In the Autumn Leaf Town, Yang Feng possessed great authority. He could even abduct women as he pleased. However, there were only a few dozen young girls in the town, and they had pretty mediocre looks. Apart from youthful and lively, it was difficult to find any girl that could be regarded as good-looking. In fact, with his terrifying influence, he only had to beckon with his finger for any single girl in the town to voluntarily go into his bed. However, he wasn't interested in any of them. Zhao Jiang had been single because he couldn't find any girl in the Autumn Leaf Town he fancied. Full W current novels on freewebnovio.com. In summary, Yang Feng, who was the head of the Autumn Leaf Town as well as a baron, couldn't enjoy life as much as an ordinary citizen of modern Earth. After crossing the Autumn Leaf Town, Yang Feng entered a small house in the Badlands to the north. He entered a room and said loudly, 3796. Let's begin. I can't wait any longer. Yes, Master, please choose objects to be created. Lights erupted from 3790 SIX's hand, and images of various modern-looking buildings and equipment appeared in midair. Yang Feng quickly made his choice. Energy needs to be put first. Let's start with 100 solar umbrellas. 3796 could synthesize any matter, but this required the consumption of a lot of energy. Energy was its life, so to speak. At present, the situation was fairly peaceful, so Yang Feng chose to build energy absorption units. At the moment, solar umbrellas were the most suitable energy absorption units. 3796 quickly went outside, extended his hands, and released blue light, illuminating a pile of iron ore. The pile of iron ore quickly decomposed into steel lumps and other substances under the blue light. Then the steel lumps mixed together with some other materials and formed numerous components, which automatically assembled into an umbrella-like solar umbrella under the blue light. Once the solar umbrella was formed, a thread extended out of 3796 and pierced into the bottom of the solar umbrella, absorbing the solar umbrella's energy. Every half an hour, an additional solar umbrella would appear in the Badlands. A day later, 48 solar umbrellas were scattered over the Badlands. 2 days later, 96 solar umbrellas appeared in the Badlands. On the third day, there was an additional engineering robot beside 3796. The robot was 3 meters tall, had a cylindrical shape, and had 16 mechanical arms. Each mechanical arm was equipped with different broaches, drill bits, hammer, pliers, electric welder, and other. On the fourth day, the number of engineering robots increased to 3, and the number of solar umbrellas increased to 200. On the fifth day, the number of engineering robots increased to 9, and the number of solar umbrellas increased to 300. On the sixth day, the number of engineering robots increased to 27, and the number of solar umbrellas increased to 400. On the seventh day, the number of engineering robots increased to 81, and the number of solar umbrellas increased to 500. On the eighth day, the number of engineering robots increased to 243, and the number of solar umbrellas increased to 600. On the ninth day, the Badlands underwent an earth-shaking change. Factories appeared almost out of thin air, bringing along a continuous string of rumbling noises. On the 10th day, as if flowers sprouting on the Badlands, There were 2,000 solar umbrellas frantically absorbing energy. The once covered with stones and impossible to be cultivated badlands had become an enormous factory complex. The factories littering the enormous factory complex emitted waves of mechanical rumbling noises. "Welcome, Master!" When Yang Feng approached the enormous factory complex, two guards with blades on their backs standing in front of the gate of the factory complex knelt on the ground and said with cold, mechanical voices. Yang Feng swept the two guards, who looked almost identical to humans, with a glance and, without saying a word, proceeded towards a factory in the factory complex. After he entered the factory complex, the two guards stood up virtually at the same time, their movements exactly the same. Yang Feng went straight towards the largest factory and entered it. Inside, there was a huge metal sphere suspended in the air. A number of mechanical tentacles, serving as different tools, extended from the huge metal sphere and assembled one robots after another from the parts moving atop assembly lines. After stepping out of the assembly line, the robots immediately left the factory and entered other factories to act as workers, refining various metals and producing components. 3796 came up to Yang Feng and asked, "Master, what are your orders?" Yang Feng responded, "I came to have a look at the factory's production status." "Report." 3796 said, "At present, there are 378 production-type robots. If necessary, it's possible to produce another 500 units within a day. However, I must remind you that we're lacking iron ore. The current demand of iron ore is large." Chapter 4 Battle Robots. Chapter 4 Battle Robots. Translator, Zayamoj. 3796 could use energy to synthesize any matter out of thin air. In theory, as long as there was enough energy and the matter was recorded in its database, then it could be synthesized using energy. However, the energy required to create matter out of energy was extremely terrifying. Thus, in order to manufacture a large number of various technological creations still required a variety of materials. Iron ore is insufficient? Yang Feng's eyebrows creased slightly. Although these days Yang Feng spared no costs or effort, urging merchants to transport iron ore towards the Autumn Leaf Town from all over and wantonly plundering the Autumn Leaf Town's iron tools, yet it was still far from enough to meet the production needs of the mechanical factory. His eyes glimmered with intense light, and he said solemnly, "There's no other way. It looks like we need to expand. Pull up all battle robot models that can be produced at the moment." "Yes, Master." 3796 quickly pulled up various battle robot models. Bladed robot, 6 meters tall, 6 tons of weight, equipped with 8 superalloy bladed arms, capable of cutting through level 4 protective cover, equipped with a 2-cylinder solar energy furnace, capable of combat within a 650-kilometer radius, equipped with level 1 energy shield. Overall production requirement, 800 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, level 7. Bladed robot, 6 meters tall, 6 tons of weight, equipped with 8 superalloy bladed arms, capable of cutting through level 4 protective cover, equipped with a 2-cylinder solar energy furnace, capable of combat within a 450-kilometer radius. Overall production requirement, 20 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, level 6. Gunner robot, 5 meters tall, 18 tons of weight, equipped with 4 6-barrel Vulcan cannons, equipped with 2 37mm anti-aircraft cannons, equipped with a 2-cylinder solar energy furnace, capable of combat within a 650-kilometer radius, carrying capacity of 40,000 rounds, equipped with level 1 energy shield. Overall production requirement, 800 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, level 7. Gunner robot, 5 meters tall, 18 tons of weight, equipped with 4 6-barrel Vulcan cannons, equipped with 2 37mm anti-aircraft cannons, equipped with a 2-cylinder solar energy furnace, capable of combat within a 450-kilometer radius, carrying capacity of 40,000 rounds. Overall production requirement, 20 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, level 6. Artillery robot, 5 meters tall, 38 tons of weight, 24-barrel rocket launcher, guided missile launcher, 150mm artillery. Equipped with a 2-cylinder solar energy furnace, capable of combat within a 450-kilometer radius, carrying capacity of 40,000 rounds, equipped with Level 1 energy shield. Overall production requirement, 800 of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 7. Artillery robot. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 6. Shielded robot, 8 meters tall, 60 tons of weight, equipped with a superalloy large blade. Equipped with a 4-cylinder solar energy furnace, capable of combat within a 650-kilometer radius. Equipped with Level 2 energy shield and a variety of defensive equipment. Overall production requirement, 800 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 7. Shielded robot. Equipped with Level 1 energy shield. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 6. Low-altitude small reconnaissance satellite, 3 meters in diameter, highest flying altitude of 30,000 meters. Detection range of 50 kilometers. Reconnaissance mechanical fly, detection range of 200 meters. Liquid metal robot, 3 meters tall, 1 ton of weight, can freely choose its shape, can freely make use of all kinds of weapons. Weak to flames, lightning, powerful corrosive acid, and destructive AoE attacks. Overall production requirement, 100 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 6. Falcon heavy-duty assault helicopter, equipped with 4 37.5mm cannons, 2-barrel rapid-fire air-to-air missiles, and 2-barrel Falcon air-to-surface missiles. Production requirement, 100 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 7. Lightning supersonic fighter, equipped with a 50mm anti-aircraft cannon, 2-barrel rapid-fire air-to-air missiles, and 2-barrel Falcon air-to-surface missiles. Production requirement, 100 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 7. Requires an airplane runway to take off. Colossus heavy-duty bomber. Production requirement, 100 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 7. Thunder Demon heavy-duty carrier. Production requirement, 60 Kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 5. Yang Feng looked at the information regarding the different types of weapons, then frowned slightly and said solemnly, "The highest is only Level 7. Isn't it too weak? There are no higher-level weapons." Ever since he received the inheritance, he saw a lot of terrifying weapons with power far beyond that of trivial Level 7 robots. There are, but my current energy limit lies at 100 Kuan of energy. I'm only capable of producing components under 100 Kuan of energy. The production cost of many components and materials for battle robots with Level 8 fighting strength or higher exceeds 100 Kuan of energy. At present, I'm incapable of producing those components and therefore, am also incapable of producing battle robots with Level 8 fighting strength or higher. There are 3 methods to solve this problem. The first method is to produce a fortified stronghold and use its large-scale energy and matter converter to transform materials into higher grade. The second method is to look for the right materials. The third method is to keep promoting this place's technology and build more factories until this place's technology is capable of producing those components and materials. A fortified stronghold? Yang Feng willed it and looked down at the bottom. Mobile fortified stronghold, 3 kilometers in diameter, equipped with 100 rhombus laser cannons, 100 200mm heavy artillery, 345mm cannons, 100 basic stronghold artillery, Level 3 large energy shield. Requirements: 10,000 tons of steel, 100,000 Kuan of energy, 1 unit of dimensional crystals. General evaluation of fighting strength, Level 10. Fuck! Yang Feng cursed in a low voice. 10,000 tons of steel required 20,000 to 30,000 tons of iron or 1 ton of iron or costed about 2 gold coins. Therefore, 30,000 tons of iron ore was equivalent to 60,000 gold coins. If purchased under normal circumstances, then even a century's worth of the Autumn Leaf Town's income wouldn't be enough. As for energy, the solar umbrellas could absorb 0.01 kuan of energy per day. At present, 2,000 solar umbrellas could only absorb 20 kuan of energy per day. At the current rate, it would require 50,000 days to collect the energy necessary for a mobile fortified stronghold. As for dimensional crystals, he hadn't even heard of it before. He contemplated for a moment before saying, "First produce a batch of simplified versions of the bladed robots, gunner robots, and artillery robots for me to employ." 3796 asked doubtfully, "Simplified versions?" Yang Feng put forward his improvement requirements that cut down on various aspects. "My current enemies are only medieval people without guns. The bladed robots only need to be able to kill knights with their blades. The gunner robots can employ 12.5mm heavy machine guns. The artillery robots only need to be equipped with a 120mm heavy artillery, and the combat radius can be reduced to within 200 kilometers. There's no need for such large frames. Human-sized frames will do it. If possible, equip them with human-like skin and make them look like humans." According to Yang Feng's requirements, 3796 made some adjustments and modifications and quickly designed battle robots that met Yang Feng's requirements. Simplified bladed robot, 1.8 meters tall, 600 kilograms of weight. Equipped with 2 superalloy blades and a small movement furnace. Capable of combat within a 200-kilometer radius. Overall production requirement, 0.1 kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, level 4. Simplified gunner robot, 1.8 meters tall, 600 kilograms of weight. Equipped with a 12.5mm heavy machine gun and a small movement furnace. Capable of combat within a 200-kilometer radius. Overall production requirement, 0.1 kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, level 4. Simplified artillery robot, 1.8 meters tall, 600 kilograms of weight. Equipped with 120mm heavy artillery and a small-scale movement furnace. Capable of combat within a 200-kilometer radius. Overall production requirement, 0.1 kuan of energy. General evaluation of fighting strength, level 4. Satisfied, Yang Feng placed a large order. "First make one of each to protect me, and then make 100 of each." This content is taken from fgariebnovel.com. 3796 responded, "Yes, Master." Chapter 5 Black Wind Bandits. Chapter 5 Black Wind Bandits. Translator, Zayamoj. Terminators. Awesome. 3 Terminators acting as my bodyguards. Not even Earth's heads of state can enjoy such treatment. Yang Feng looked at the 3 humanoid robots in front of him, and he couldn't help exclaiming, "Terminator bodyguards. This is a man's fantasy." In front of Yang Feng stood 3 humanoid robots with cold expressions. The robots wore black sunglasses and black cloaks, looking very cool and lofty. The bladed robot carried 2 superalloy battle blades on its back. The gunner robot carried 2 12.5mm heavy machine gun on its back, and the artillery robot carried 1 120mm heavy artillery. The 3 humanoid robots had great research value. If sold on Earth, each one of them would go for at least 100 million renminbi. By selling one of them, Yang Feng could have a worry-free life. 3796 reminded, "Master, this design greatly reduces their combat ability. Human form isn't the best battle form. If they were designed to look like spiders or other beasts, then their fighting ability could be increased by 20% to 120%. The bladed robot's initial form was that of a beast with 8 bladed arms. Now that it was simplified to a human form, its fighting strength dropped considerably." Yang Feng smiled and explained, "The fighting ability of the beast form may be much more powerful than that of the human form. However, this is a human society. Therefore, humanoid robots are much more practical than beast-shaped ones." 3796 responded, "Yes." Yang Feng spoke. "By the way, help me deduce how long do I have to cultivate the Thunder Ox art in order to promote to a great knight?" "Yes. Begin deduction. The deduction will consume 0.1 kuan of energy. Begin deducting." 3790 SIX's eyes flashed with red light and it used its supercomputing ability to carry out the deduction. 20 seconds later. Deduction concluded according to your current circumstances. Master. When cultivating the optimized cultivation method I designed, you can promote to a junior warrior in 2 years' time, to an intermediate warrior in 5 years' time, to an advanced warrior in 10 years' time. You can't break through to the knight rank and can't promote to a great knight. Yang Feng felt incredulous, saying, "How is that possible? Obviously, the Thunder Ox art is a martial art that can be cultivated until the great knight rank. Additionally, it went through your optimization, so how come I can't even promote to a knight? There are 2 reasons. The first reason is that you've missed the optimal age for cultivation, Master. According to the analysis, the optimal period to cultivate this cultivation method is from 9 to 16 years of age. The second reason is that your cultivation aptitude is bad. You're an extreme waste in this regard, Master. You are incompatible with the Thunder Ox art martial art. Without external influences, you're basically incapable of breaking through to the knight rank," said 3796 mercilessly. Extreme waste. Yang Feng was speechless. How could he have imagined that his cultivation aptitude was actually that poor? 3796 uttered consolingly. "But you don't need to feel ashamed, Master. In fact, after several millennia of degradation, people of Earth are basically extreme wastes when it comes to cultivation. You're not alone." Yang Feng was speechless, but he still felt better. He asked, "Is there any solution to this? Didn't the xizu have cultivation methods? The Star River Golden Flower, True Sun Water, 7-colored amethyst fruit, Star Field Embryo Membrane. Using these treasures, you'll directly promote to a level 10 powerhouse. By then, a trifling knight can be easily killed with a slap. Furthermore, your cultivation aptitude will be upgraded." As for the xizu, they virtually had no cultivation methods. They were soul forms that fully merged with robots. They were immortal. As long as they had an immortal robot under their control, they would never truly die. "Master, if you want to live forever, you can merge with me. Thereafter, as long as there are robots branded with your soul brand, you can live forever and wherever." 3790 SIX's eyes flashed with red light and it advised. Yang Feng laughed, saying, "Haha, we'll talk about that later. I have no intentions of becoming a robot, for now at least." He got a goose that laid golden eggs, aka 3796. He had yet to enjoy the benefits of this goose. He was unwilling to become a robot, at least not until he was forced to. Yang Feng had a bad premonition, saying, "Star River Golden Flower, True Sun Water, 7-colored amethyst fruit, Star Field Embryo Membrane. Can you produce these treasures? These treasures can only be synthesized after a level 7 mobile fortified stronghold is built." A level 7 mobile fortified stronghold. Yang Feng was speechless. The requirement in terms of materials and their preciousness for every consecutive level of the mobile fortified stronghold increased geometrically. Yang Feng had never even heard about many of these materials. There was no telling how long it would take him to build a level 7 mobile fortified stronghold. He said, "One step at a time. First make me a level 5 liquid metal robot. Lower its weight as much as possible and augment the thickness of its armor after transformation. Yes, level 5 liquid metal robots require 20 Kuan of energy. Would you like to give priority to the production simplified primary bladed robots or a level 5 liquid metal robot?" "The liquid metal robot first." "Understood." Outside the autumn leaf town, there was a wide expanse of very fertile black soil. Frubnov.com. The source of this content is freowebnovel.com. Many emaciated, dirty peasants, as if ants, laboriously worked underneath the sunshine, forming a beautiful scenery. Dazzling rice crops waved in the wind. Suddenly, the sound of horseshoes came from afar. When the peasants who worked the fields looked up, they saw a fully armed cavalry cloaked in black galloping their way. The Black Wind Bandits. They're the Black Wind Bandits. The Black Wind Bandits. Alarmed voices rang in the area. With appalled expressions, the peasants abandoned everything and scrambled to flee. The cavalrymen cloaked in black, with sinister smiles on their faces, rushed towards the autumn leaf town like sharp arrows shot from a bowstring. Ding! Dong! Ding! Dong! A resonant alarm reverberated in the autumn leaf town. Alarmed, the autumn leaf town people hid in their homes and grabbed weapons, shivering. Close the gate! Close the gate immediately! Hurry up, fools! For your own sake, quickly close the gate. At the autumn leaf castle's gate, an officer with a pale face directed the guards to close the castle's gate. Under the officer's scolding and cursing, the castle gate finally started to close. Master, it's bad. The Black Wind Bandits are here. The Black Wind Bandits are here. With a pale and frightened expression, the butler Lu stormed into the castle's garden and shouted towards Yang Feng. Chapter 6 Night Rank Powerhouse. Chapter 6 Night Rank Powerhouse. Translator: Zayamoj. Black Wind Bandits? Who are they? Yang Feng creased his eyebrows, and then followed the butler Lu towards the top of the castle city wall. On the way to the city wall, the butler Lu gave Yang Feng a detailed explanation about the Black Wind Bandits. The Black Wind Bandits was a group of bandits active in the vicinity of the giant stone city. It was entirely composed of cavalrymen, coming and going alike the wind. It was extremely cunning, and plundered towns and caravans all over. The giant stone city had dispatched troops on several occasions to get rid of the Black Wind Bandits. After a number of failures, it became known that Barry, the leader of the Black Wind Bandits, was a shocking powerhouse with knight rank strength. Knight was what experts that practiced knight secret methods and broke through the limitations of the mortal body were called. An ordinary knight could wield 200-kilogram heavy weapons as they pleased. After wearing an armor covering their entire body, they would feel more like invulnerable tanks. They had extraordinary combat ability, having no equal. There was not a single knight rank powerhouse among the Autumn Leaf Town's several hundred people. The strongest powerhouse in the Autumn Leaf Castle was the guard commander Xuanhuan and was merely an intermediate warrior. Without the protection of the city wall, a knight could easily massacre everyone in the Autumn Leaf Castle. In general, experts with knight rank cultivation base would be recruited by greater aristocrats. However, due to various reasons, some knights would become bandits or criminals. Knights who turned into criminals were undoubtedly the most terrifying existences. The butler Lu described to Yang Feng the horror of the Black Wind Bandits. Meanwhile, he secretly glanced at the 4 brawny bodyguards beside Yang Feng, and his eyes flashed with a glimmer of doubt. The Autumn Leaf Town was a closed-off town with a low population, so the arrival of strangers would certainly cause a great sensation. The butler Lu felt doubtful when Yang Feng returned with 4 eye-catching, brawny bodyguards from a trip. However, he knew that this was a dangerous time, so he didn't ask too many questions. When Yang Feng reached the top of the city wall, he saw over 100 cloaked black, armed to the teeth cavalrymen galloping their way atop first-rate war mounts. Leading the cavalry was a warrior covered in heavy armor riding a wildebeest. As if a tank, he exuded a strong sense of oppression. Yang Feng examined the surroundings. Atop the city wall, there were 36 guards, including 10 archers, 8 junior warriors, and a single intermediate warrior, who was the guard commander Xuanhuan. This lineup had no problem to maintain the Autumn Leaf Town's public order. However, to deal with the Black Wind Bandits, which had a knight, was certainly a pipe dream. The guards atop the city wall had pale complexions as they looked at the Black Wind Bandits in the distance. Some guards even had their legs and arms tremble. Were it not for the protection from the 6-meter-tall city wall, the morale of these guards might have already collapsed, unable to fight. The guards in the Autumn Leaf Castle had only upheld public security until now. There was no comparison between them and the Black Wind Bandits who went through numerous life-and-death battles. Every Black Wind Bandit was at least a junior warrior. Moreover, if pitted against any one of those junior warriors who went through numerous life-and-death battles, even the strongest person in the Autumn Leaf Town, Xuanhuan, might not necessarily be able to kill them. Over 100 Black Wind Bandits, as if a whirlwind, quickly arrived before the Autumn Leaf Castle. Covered in a black heavy armor, Barry dismounted his mount with ease and, through the visor of his helmet, looked coldly at the Autumn Leaf Castle. Up.dfrmfga.ewebnvel.com. The over 100 Black Wind bandits dismounted their mounts skillfully, took their places behind Barry, and looked at the Autumn Leaf Castle with ridicule. Without any nonsense, Barry drew an enormous sword from his back and strode towards the Autumn Leaf Castle. The more than 100 Black Wind bandits followed Barry and charged towards the Autumn Leaf Castle. Release the arrows! Release the arrows! Shoot him! Shoot Barry! Xuanhuan looked pale as he shouted. The 10 archers desperately fired at Barry from atop the city wall. Shortly after, 10 arrows shot at Barry like raindrops. The 10 archers obviously weren't well trained as 9 of the 10 arrows missed. Only 1 arrow hit Barry in the shoulder, and then ricocheted. Unaffected, Barry proceeded towards the Autumn Leaf Castle like a terrifying tank. When they saw this, the guards atop the city wall had their courage and moral plummet. The second volley of arrows didn't even brush against Barry. Amazing! That's a heavy armored knight for you. Amazing indeed! When Yang Feng saw Barry charge amid the rain of arrows in an unrestrained fashion, his eyes flashed with admiration. Within a few breaths of time, Barry arrived at the bottom of the Autumn Leaf Castle city wall. He erupted with a shocking aura and, with a vigorous step, jumped up, then landed atop the 6-meter-tall Autumn Leaf Castle city wall, slashed down with his sword, and chopped a guard in twine, scattering blood and viscera all over. The guards atop the Autumn Leaf Castle city wall had never experienced a bloody battle. Seeing this terrifying scene, their morale crumbled and they scattered. Barry! 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 At the bottom of the city wall, the Black Wind bandits raised their weapons and burst into feverish and excited cheers. Barry swept the Autumn Leaf Town's guards with a cold glance, then dropped down ropes from atop the city wall with a wave of his hand. The Black Wind bandits at the bottom grabbed the ropes and swiftly climbed up. The legs of the butler Lou trembled. He looked at the death god like Barry and said in a shaky voice, "Master, we should escape." FREAWebnovel.com. No matter how high his martial prowess are, he can be felled with a shot. A mere knight doesn't count for much in front of a firearm. Yang Feng sneered, pulled out a 9mm pistol from his waist, aimed at Barry, and pulled the trigger. Bang! 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 The unbridled Barry was shot 6 times. Hit by the 9mm bullets, Barry's heavy armor was ran through, and 6 bloody holes appeared on his body, and blood gushed out. "You injured me, fucking yellow-skinned son of a bitch. How dare you injure the mighty knight Barry? I'll crush your bones inch by inch, mince you and feed you to the dogs." Barry was shot 6 times, yet his eyes turned bloodshot and flashed with a savage glint. With a furious roar, a terrifying power erupted from his body, and the 6 bloody bullets were ejected. Chapter 7: Killing a Knight Rank Powerhouse. Chapter 7: Killing a Knight Rank Powerhouse. Translator. Zayamoj FREAWebnovel.com. Shun he saw Barry expel the 6 bullets out of his body. Yang Feng couldn't help saying, "Amazing! Even bullets can be expelled. Knights are really awesome. No wonder it's so difficult to succeed in cultivation." On Earth, after being shot 6 times, there was no one capable of expelling the 6 bullets out of their body. Barry was the first martial arts expert that Yang Feng has ever seen. However, Barry was merely a knight. There were still 3 higher ranks: Great Knight, Earth Knight, and Sky Knight. Besides, knights weren't the strongest force in this world. Warlocks were at the summit of this world. A trifling knight was already this powerful. Then how strong would a warlock be? This realization left Yang Feng more awed with this world. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, so long as you advanced to a knight, you would possess extraordinary strength. You would possess power far beyond that of ordinary people. With a bellow, Barry drew his great sword and rushed furiously towards Yang Feng. Yang Feng said indifferently, "Bladed robot, go exchange some blows with him. Other than his head, you can attack freely." The sunglasses-wearing bladed robot standing beside Yang Feng drew its 2 super-alloy battle blades one after another, then blurred into motion and threw itself at Barry like a fierce tiger. It appeared before Barry and mercilessly hacked at him. Barry raised his sword to parry. Ding! An ear-piercing, metal-striking metal sound rang in the area. Barry's face turned pale, and he retreated briskly. Blood dripped from underneath his armor. A knight! How can you have a knight rank expert as a bodyguard? Barry's eyes flashed with shock, and he exclaimed. It was very difficult to support a knight. The set of heavy armor Barry was clad in cost over 400 gold coins. In addition, a knight's minimum wage was no lower than 20 gold coins per month. With equipment maintenance, the feed for the mount, and other necessities, it cost over 30 gold coins per month to support a knight. A lesser aristocrat like Zhao Jiang couldn't bear such expenses. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with excitement and he whispered, "To be able to block a robot's all-out attack with the human body, truly impressive, worthy of a powerhouse who surpassed the limitations of the mortal body." After injuring Barry with the blade strike, the bladed robot took a ferocious step and continued to slash at Barry with its enormous alloy battle blades. With an enraged roar, Barry erupted with a powerful life force, brandished his large sword, and exchanged a round of strikes with the bladed robot. Barry could barely withstand the violent attacks of the blade robot after stimulating his powerful life force. But even so, he was still in a completely disadvantageous position, tottering. He soon would be unable to parry the bladed robot's flurry of strikes. "Follow me. You can kill and loot for 3 days after we breach the city wall." The eyes of the vice leader of the Black Wind Bandits flashed with a fierce glint, and he roared, "Kill! Kill!" Eyes flashing with bloodthirsty radiance, the more than 100 Black Wind Bandits quickly reached the bottom of the city wall, grabbed the ropes, and climbed up. Yang Feng swept the Black Wind Bandits at the bottom with a look and sneered, "Gunner robot, kill them all!" With a 12.5mm heavy machine gun in each hand as well as an enormous bullets case on its back, the gunner robot quickly arrived at the edge of the city wall, and the two 12.5mm heavy machine guns in its hands spewed fierce tongues of flame at once. The sound of heavy machine gun bullets tearing cloth reverberated. One bandit was shot in the head by a 12.5mm bullet, and his head burst open like a watermelon. Another bandit was shot in the shoulder by a 12.5mm bullet, and his arm was blown away. Yet another bandit was shot in the chest, and a huge bloody hole appeared in his chest. Faced with that terrifying hail of metal, the bandits lacked the ability to resist. Blood spilled everywhere and, one after another, they turned into corpses. "Leader, let's flee." When the vice leader of the Black Wind Bandits saw his subordinates being torn apart by the hail of metal, he issued a miserable cry. In the next moment, a dozen heavy machine gun bullets slammed into the vice leader and tore him to pieces in a flash. In less than 3 minutes, the Black Wind Bandits, which used to terrorize the towns in the surroundings of the giant stone city, were butchered and minced. History had proved countless times that resisting a hail of metal with the body was a moronic action. "Zhao Jiang, you bastard! Return my brothers!" Barry's eyes turned bloodshot, and he snarled. Yang Feng coldly replied, "Bandits also value camaraderie? Gunner robot, go ahead." The gunner robot aimed the heavy machine guns at Barry, and then the sound of heavy machine gun bullets tearing cloth reverberated again. The heavy machine gun bullets easily ran through Barry's heavy armor. His lower body was torn to numerous pieces, and blood splattered about. The bladed robot stepped forward, swung an enormous alloy battle blade downwards, and severed Barry's head. Dumbstruck, the guards atop the Autumn Leaf Castle city wall felt like this was a dream. The Knight Barry, an unparalleled demonic-like existence, to everyone's surprise, was easily killed by Yang Feng's 2 experts. The over 100 Black Wind Bandits were torn to pieces to a man, which was simply unbelievable. The butler Lu's eyes flashed with excitement, and he said in a shaky voice, "Warlock alchemist, master, have you obtained the power of an alchemist?" The guards atop the wall also looked at Yang Feng with awe and worship in their eyes. Warlocks were pinnacle powerhouses of the Tyrannid subcontinent, and they possessed all kinds of extraordinary abilities. Even if it was the Fernandro Principality's monarch, he would have to be respectful in front of an official level 1 warlock, not daring to show any neglect. Only with the power of warlocks was it possible to easily destroy such an armed force like the Black Wind Bandits. Yang Feng responded indifferently, "That's right. I obtained the power of an alchemist." "Great. That's great. At last, the Zhao family can shine brightly and welcome great development." The butler Lu trembled. His eyes overflowed with turbid tears, and he muttered excitedly. The Autumn Leaf Castle's guards also issued excited cheers. As the subordinates of a warlock, they had a bright future ahead of them. Yang Feng had the bladed robot carry Barry's severed head, and went to the munitions factory where 3796 was located. Once he arrived at the munitions factory, Yang Feng handed 3796 Barry's severed head to have his memories read. Before long, Barry's memories were read, enabling Yang Feng to become privy to the ins and outs of different matters. Arad latest chapters at freewebnovel.com only. The Black Wind Bandits were a criminal extension of the Tree Mountain City, a neighbor of the Giant Stone City. The master of the Tree Mountain City, Earl Locky, and Viscount Harley were mortal enemies locked in an endless struggle. After Yang Feng borrowed a lot of gold coins from Baron Kirov, the Autumn Leaf Town was likely to be annexed by Baron Kirov, which would strengthen his power. Earl Locky dispatched the Black Wind Bandits to exterminate the Zhao family. With the Zhao family exterminated, the Zhao family's fief would be taken away by the Fernandro Principality. By then, by adopting various means, Earl Locky could have a friendly aristocrat transferred to the fief, invading Viscount Harley's scope of influence. The enemy of my enemy isn't necessarily my friend. Weakness is sin, while strength is truth. It dawned on Yang Feng. If Yang Feng hadn't had the power of the Xizu inheritance, he might have become a corpse by now, not even knowing why he died. Chapter 8, Attacking the Black Rock Town. Chapter 8, Attacking the Black Rock Town. New novel chapters are published on fruyobnl.com. Translator, Zayamoj. The Black Rock Town was one of the 10 towns under the jurisdiction of the Giant Stone City. The Black Rock Town was surrounded by more mountains than land, with most of the land being unsuitable for cultivation. However, there were several large iron ore veins in the surroundings of the Black Rock Town. By relying on the several large iron ore veins, Baron Kirov built the Black Rock Town into a town of steelmaking and weapons manufacturing. The Black Rock Town supplied its weapons to the numerous aristocrats of the Fernandro Principality, earning Baron Kirov tremendous wealth. The Black Rock Town was much more flourishing than the Autumn Leaf Town. The Autumn Leaf Town's population didn't even reach 1,000 people, while the Black Rock Town's population reached 30,000 people. The Black Rock Town was also the most prosperous of the 10 towns under the jurisdiction of the Giant Stone City. The only disadvantage of the Black Rock Town was that it couldn't produce its own foodstuff. Each year, it had to acquire large amounts of food from all over. It was for this reason that Baron Kirov had set his sight on the Zhao family's Autumn Leaf Town. As long as he got his hands on the fertile Autumn Leaf Town, Baron Kirov would never again be short on food. On a hillside, 2 kilometers outside of the Black Rock Town, Yang Feng overlooked the distant Black Rock Town from atop the hillside. Behind him stood 50 level 4-bladed robots, 50 level 4-gunner robots, 10 level 4 artillery robots, as well as 2 level 5 liquid metal robots. The robots were covered in pitch-black battle gowns and exuded awe-inspiring, murderous auras. He pointed at the Black Rock Town and commanded, "I want the Black Rock Town. Capture it for me. Kill anyone who resists." "Yes, Master." The 112 robots replied loudly with mechanical, synthesized voices at the same time. Next, 30-bladed robots, 30-gunner robots, 5 artillery robots, and 1 level 5 liquid metal robot rushed down the hillside and charged towards the Black Rock Town. Yang Feng fished out a metallic helmet and put it on. The metallic helmet was called Consciousness Transmitting Helmet, and could link Yang Feng's consciousness to any robot equipped with a receiver chip within an area of 5 kilometers in diameter and let him take direct control of the robot. In the Tyrandot subcontinent, there were formidable knights with strong bodies and formidable warlocks with strange means. Many warlocks grasped frightening powers capable of making people die out of nowhere. Naturally, Yang Feng didn't dare to personally go to the battlefield, lest he might die without knowing how he died. Before he merged with the inheritance robot 3796, Yang Feng was so weak that even an ordinary person could kill him. Any random action of a powerful warlock was enough to kill him. Shortly after, Yang Feng's spirit was linked with the level 5 liquid metal robot. The level 5 liquid metal robot warped and quickly changed its appearance to that of Yang Feng. This is an ability of xizu powerhouses who could freely travel to and fro the bodies of subordinated robots and have complete control over them. They could be reborn inside any robot as long as their soul didn't perish. If you're about to die of old age and have no other means to extend your life, then becoming a robot is also a pretty good solution. Moving about, Yang Feng discovered that using the liquid metal robot body was no worse than using his own body. It was like he possessed another body. Unfortunately, this body doesn't feel a thing. He pinched his right hand hard, nearly deforming it. Even so, there was no feeling in his right hand. 3790 Six's voice echoed in Yang Feng's mind. Master, if you want to feel things, there is a way. So long as you build a level 3 mobile fortified stronghold, you can produce flesh liquid metal robots. With a flesh liquid metal robot body, you can feel anything you normally would with the human body. Even the feeling of copulation, which humans are so fond of, can be perfectly experienced. Shut up! Yang Feng scolded angrily. 3790 Six's voice faded away. The Black Rock town already resembled a city. It was surrounded by a 6-meter-tall city wall and had 6 guards standing guard outside the gate. Seeing over 60 murderous-looking, black-robed robots speeding towards them, the 6 guards rang the alarm at once. An ear-piercing alarm reverberated in the Black Rock town, and the steel gate was lowered. Over 30 well-trained, fully armed archers arrived atop the gate and looked at Yang Feng's troops vigilantly. Lay siege! At Yang Feng's order, 5 artillery robots stepped out and pointed their 120mm heavy artilleries at the gate. freewebnovel.com. Boom! Following 5 earth-shaking explosions, the steel gate was blown apart. The frightening vibrations even managed to knock down quite a few archers from atop the city wall. Warlock alchemist. They have a warlock. Atop the city wall, a captain muttered in horror. The archers were ashen-faced, trembling. Warlocks were the most powerful beings in this world. Some powerful warlocks were like gods to mortals. Now that the gate was broken, the guards realized that they were contending against a legendary warlock and lost their confidence. Only the most elite, most powerful troops, who went through harsh training, had the courage to confront warlocks. In a small place like the Black Rock town, the troops didn't have the courage to confront a powerful warlock. Kneel. Lay down your weapons and surrender, and you won't be killed. Resist, and you will be killed. A bladed robot shouted loudly from the crowd. The archers atop the city wall trembled and hesitated for a moment. An archer took the lead in dropping his weapon and kneeling on the ground. As if triggering a chain reaction, the remaining soldiers also dropped their weapons and knelt on the ground. After dispatching 5 bladed robots to take charge of the captives, Yang Feng proceeded to lead the bulk of his forces into the Black Rock town. Silence ruled within the Black Rock town. The people had hidden within their homes, looking at Yang Feng's group in dismay. The Black Rock Castle city wall was 10 meters tall and 1 kilometer in diameter. It was entirely made out of black rock, which was as hard as steel. Even knight-rank experts weren't able to jump onto the 10-meter-tall city wall. As for great knight-rank powerhouses, they would have to remove their heavy armor to be able to jump onto such a high city wall. Over 200 soldiers dressed in leather armor and equipped with a variety of weapons stood on their posts atop the Black Rock Castle city wall. Their auras were clearly many times more formidable than that of the Autumn Leaf Castle soldiers. There were 2 heavy crossbows set up atop the city wall. The heavy crossbows and their bolts were each 7 meters in length. 5 to 6 people had to work in concert in order to operate each heavy crossbow. The might of the heavy crossbows was enormous, and even great knight-rank powerhouses would be killed upon taking a direct hit. Chapter 9 Capturing the Black Rock Town. Chapter 9 Capturing the Black Rock Town. Translator, Zayamoj. Baron Kirov walked onto the city wall, gave Yang Feng a deep bow and salute, and said respectfully, "I am Baron Kirov, the Lord of the Black Rock Town. Honorable Sir Warlock, why have you attacked the Black Rock Town? If the Black Rock Town somehow offended, I hope to be able to compensate you with gold coins to pacify your anger. Baron Kirov, as an aristocrat, was very clear about the power and honor of warlocks. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, every state must possess a warlock as its official backer. If a state ever lost its warlock support, then it would either perish and give birth to a new state or be annexed by some other state. Baron Kirov, do you recognize me? Yang Feng uncovered his face and revealed Zhao Zhang's face, and said to Baron Kirov with a faint smile. Baron Kirov's complexion changed greatly. An ominous premonition welled up in his mind, and he exclaimed, Baron Zhao Zhang! Baron Kirov's thoughts revolved lightning fast, and he said, Baron Zhao Zhang, it's a serious crime to attack a baron's territory for no reason. You'll be stripped off your title and territory if the court finds out about this. Leave now, it's still not too late. This matter, I can treat it as if it didn't took place. Attacking the territory of other aristocrat within the Fernandro Principality was a serious offense. If discovered, even a bigwig like Viscount Harley would be deprived of his title and territory. Baron Kirov wanted to seize Zhao Zhang's title and territory, but alas, he had no choice but to adopt a variety of dirty tricks and didn't dare to attack Zhao Zhang's territory directly. Yang Feng sneered, his gaze turned cold, and he said, Baron Kirov, you dare send people to assassinate me. Today, I'll send you on your way. Go to hell and repent. Kill anyone who resists. Yang Feng reached a bottleneck in the Autumn Leaf Town. The Black Rock Town was his target as it possessed a large supply of ore. After capturing the Black Rock Town, Yang Feng would be able to quickly develop and produce more and more powerful robots. Only with more and more powerful robots would he have a better chance at survival in this world. No matter what Baron Kirov said, Yang Feng wouldn't abandon his plan to capture the Black Rock Town. 30-gunner robots pointed their heavy machine guns towards the top of the city wall and pulled the trigger. Flames were spat out and, in a split second, the city wall was completely enveloped by blood. Under the sweep of the heavy machine gun bullets, practically all warriors that had appeared were blown apart. Baron Kirov also met with the shredding of the numerous heavy machine gun bullets and turned into numerous scraps of meat that dropped to the ground. 5 artillery robots aimed their 120mm heavy artillery at Black Rock Castle's gate and, with flashes of flames, exploded the gate into shrapnel. The figures of the 30 Knight rank bladed robots flashed and they rushed into the Black Rock Castle. Scream and wails came from the Black Rock Castle. Before long, the resistance of the Black Rock Castle was easily quelled and, along with a thick smell of blood, the Black Rock Castle fell under Yang Feng's control. Without powerhouses like knights and warlocks keeping watch, ordinary humans couldn't resist Yang Feng's mechanical legion at all. Once the Black Rock Castle fell, the entire Black Rock Town fell into Yang Feng's hands. Yang Feng immediately dispatched a large number of bladed robots and mining robots to occupy the mines and resume the mining of ore. Simultaneously, a large number of solar umbrellas bloomed in the hilly area and badlands surrounding the Black Rock Town. Engineering robots, alike worker ants, busied themselves in a large tract of badlands and began the construction of a large munitions factory. The sound of machinery boomed in the Black Rock Town's mining fields as a variety of large iron smelting and steelmaking machinery were built by engineering robots. The mining robots, carrying mining tools far surpassing those of this age, entered the mines and mined ore around the clock. After upgrading a variety of mining facilities, the Black Rock Town's ore production skyrocketed by more than 100 times. The munitions factories of the Autumn Leaf Town started working at full capacity after obtaining the large amount of ore produced in the Black Rock Town. Each day, large numbers of mining robots, engineering robots, and battle robots were produced and then transported to the Black Rock Town. As a result of Yang Feng killing Baron Kirov, a large tide of people fleeing the Black Rock Town. A large number of miners, townspeople, lesser aristocrats, and freedmen, without being obstructed, fled from the Black Rock Town and mainly moved toward the giant stone city. From an ordinary lord, having a large number of residents escape would give them a great headache. After all, every resident paid taxes and contributed to the wealth of the lord. However, for Yang Feng, the residents could flee if they wanted to. For him, the robots of his mechanical legion were the people most loyal to him and created him the most riches. After sweeping the entire Black Rock Castle, Yang Feng scrapped a total of 30,000 gold coins in cash, as well as a large number of antiques, works of art, and various real estate deeds of the giant stone city. The Black Rock town was rich in a variety of ore. Although Baron Kirov had to prepare large amounts of funds as bribes every year, but he still had a fortune of over 200,000 gold coins. However, bulk of his fortune was used to purchase various real estates in the giant stone city, works of art, and antiques. Therefore, his cash was very limited, just 30,000 gold coins. From Baron Kirov's head, Yang Feng read a lot of information and got method that could be cultivated until the knight rank. However, that knight method was far worse than the Zhao family's Thunder Ox art, so Yang Feng had no interest in practicing it. Micro-reconnaissance satellites flew into the sky to scout out the giant stone city. The source of this scenetent is freewebnovel.com. The information obtained from Baron Kirov's head showed that the giant stone city's population was as large as 600,000 people, and the number of knights in the giant stone city exceeded 100. Just Viscount Harley had more than 30 knights and 3 great knights among his subordinates. Apart from this, there were still over 30 apprentice warlocks living in the giant stone city. Earth Knights were comparable to level 3 apprentice warlocks in terms of rank, and Sky Knights, whose fighting strength was even greater, were comparable to official level 1 warlocks. However, the number of powerhouses that could practice cultivation until the Earth Knight rank or the Sky Knight rank was exceedingly low. Only some followers of extremely powerful warlocks could promote to the Earth Knight rank or Sky Knight rank. In the Fernandro Principality, the number of Knight rank powerhouses exceeded 10,000, but there was only one Sky Knight rank powerhouse. You could well imagine how rare Sky Knights were. Yang Feng was confident in his mechanical legion's ability to destroy the giant stone city's forces. However, the giant stone city had the backing of a warlock group called the Black Cottage. The Black Cottage had a very powerful level 1 warlock. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, warlocks were top powerhouses. If a level 1 warlock participated in a war against mortals and the other side had no means to restrict him, he could easily kill the enemy commander in the middle of a large army and destroy the enemy's will to resist. Currently, the main robots constituting Yang Feng's mechanical legion were at level 4. Once the main robots constituting his mechanical legion were substituted with level 6 robots, he had complete certainty that he could defeat a level 1 warlock. After occupying the Black Rock town, Yang Feng's forces increased geometrically each day. Time was on his side. Chapter 10, Black Cottage. Chapter 10, Black Cottage. Translator, Zayamoj. The giant stone city was one of the Fernandro Principality's 16 cities and had a population of 600,000 people. The giant stone city, with the city master's mansion, 5 men sat in the reception hall. Seated in the seat of honor was a man with short blonde hair, blue eyes, a hooked nose, fair skin, and a tall and sturdy figure. The man emitted a trace of tyrannical aura. He was Viscount Harley, the master of the giant stone city. In addition to Viscount Harley, the other 4 men were the patriarchs of the 4 great families, Portman family, Panchette family, Manny family, Luger family of the giant stone city. Viscount Harley and the 4 great families jointly controlled the giant stone city. Viscount Harley said slowly, "The Black Rock town's Baron Kirov was murdered." The patriarchs of the 4 great families silently exchanged looks. After Baron Kirov was killed by Yang Feng, the news soon reached their ears. However, the perpetrator was a powerhouse with a warlock inheritance, which left them fearful. Each of the 4 great families made offerings to apprentice warlocks, so they knew how strange and powerful the means of warlocks were. If they were to provoke a powerful official warlock, destroying their families would be easy. As long as Yang Feng didn't encroach on their core interests, they could keep quiet. Viscount Harley frowned slightly and uttered solemnly, "I plan to ask for help from the Black Cottage, to ask them to exterminate that wicked apprentice warlock." The patriarch of the Portman family asked, "Apprentice warlock? Sir City Master, are you sure that he's an apprentice warlock?" There was a deep ravine in strength between apprentice warlocks and official warlocks. Apprentice warlocks could still be surrounded and killed by an ordinary army. But an official warlock, so long as they weren't foolish enough to fight with an ordinary army to the death, they could certainly kill the army's commander, and then leave effortlessly. Some powerful warlocks could even defeat a 10,000-strong ordinary army by themselves. The giant stone city had a 5,000-strong army. With the army plus all the apprentice warlocks they could muster, they were still more likely to lose than to win against a level 1 warlock. Unless the level 1 warlock was foolish enough to wait for the giant stone city to gather its troops and apprentice warlocks and then engage them in battle, they could act in secret and easily kill all the apprentice warlocks. Arad Latest Chapter S at freeobnovel.com only. Viscount Harley said in a deep voice. If he was a level 1 warlock, then he alone could capture the Black Rock town. Based on our intelligence, he mobilized close to 100 soldiers to capture the Black Rock town. In addition, if he was an official warlock, he certainly wouldn't have killed an aristocrat without rhyme or reason, as that was equivalent to declaring war against the Sir of the Black Cottage. Only thoughtless upstarts who just recently obtained power would unbridledly kill an aristocrat. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, an official warlock wouldn't lightly kill an aristocrat if not absolutely necessary, as there was quite likely another warlock backing the aristocrat from the shadows. Only if the aristocrat offended an official warlock would the official warlock kill the aristocrat without giving rise to pushback from another warlock. It was an unwritten rule in the Tyrannid subcontinent that the dignity of warlocks could not be violated. But similarly, an official warlock had to respect other official warlocks. Otherwise, it would lead to conflict between warlocks. The backer of the giant stone city was the warlock group Black Cottage. In fights between ordinary people, the Black Cottage's warlocks wouldn't deign to interfere. However, once there was an apprentice warlock threatening the giant stone city or its ancillaries without a particular cause, then the Black Cottage would definitely dispatch an expert to kill the ignorant apprentice warlock. The patriarch of the Panchette family said slowly, "It will cost us a pretty penny to invite the Black Cottage to take care of this." Warlocks weren't otherworldly existences. On the contrary, warlocks were beings who had to consume huge amounts of money. Each official warlock possessed great riches, but their expenses were similarly frightening. Elixirs refined by a warlock could be sold for hundreds if not thousands of gold coins. Even tens of thousand or hundreds of thousand gold coins for a vial of elixir was not uncommon. As the backer of the giant stone city, the Black Cottage collected a large amount of gold coins each year. At the same time, the price for them to act was 50,000 gold coins. Such a huge sum, even for the 4 great families of the giant stone city, would be very painful to take out. That was why, if there was no major event, the giant stone city wouldn't ask for help from the Black Cottage. The patriarchs of the other 3 great families also focused their attention on Viscount Harley. freewebvl.com. Viscount Harley said solemnly, "We'll take 30,000 gold coins out of this year's taxes, and I'll put forth 10,000 gold coins. Each one of your 4 families will put forth 2,500 gold coins. When we get rid of that thoughtless fool, we'll divide the spoils according to the amount of money invested." Excellent. The patriarchs of the 4 great families nodded in satisfaction. After persuading the patriarchs of the 4 great families, Viscount Harley went to the rear garden. In the rear garden, there was a raven nest on a white oak tree. When a strange white raven saw Viscount Harley walk into the rear garden, it flew to Viscount Harley, landed on his arm and said in human voice, "Viscount Harley, are you here to give me food? I want to eat wild boar. A well-roasted pork ham will do. Your cook's cooking is terrible. I suggest you hang him and replace him with a new one." Viscount Harley responded respectfully, "Sir Bobo, please greet the mighty master of the Black Cottage for me and tell him that I need his help. A wicked warlock force, which is trying to provoke the mighty master of the Black Cottage, has emerged in the Black Rock town. We prepared a tribute of 50,000 gold coins and asked the great master of the Black Cottage to help us dispel that evil." The white raven flapped its wings and cried out, "All right, Sir Bobo will convey your words to the great master of the Black Cottage. However, upon return, Sir Bobo wants to eat a plump pork ham. It must be properly roasted." Viscount Harley smiled and said, "As you wish. Upon return, you will receive a properly roasted pork ham." The white raven nodded contentedly, flapped its wings, and flew out of the city master's mansion. Contrary to the imagination of ordinary people, the Black Cottage wasn't hidden in a remote place. The Black Cottage was located in the Black City, which was one of the 16 cities of the Fernandro Principality. The Black City was located 100 kilometers to the north of the giant stone city, and had a population of 200,000 people. In terms of surface area, the Black City was only second to the Dragon Mountain City, the capital of the Fernandro Principality. It was twice as big as the giant stone city. In the center of the Black City, there was a huge, dreamlike manor with forests, lakes, streams, hills, and other kinds of landscape. That whole manor nearly occupied 1/3 of the area of the Black City. This huge and beautiful manor was the headquarters of the Black Cottage. Chapter 11 Level 1 Warlock Bonnie. Chapter 11 Level 1 Warlock Bonnie. Translator, Zayamoj. In the middle of the huge manor stood a warlock tower 3 stories tall, for a total of 60 meters. The warlock tower was made of steel rock, which were as hard as steel. Steel rock was one of the commonly used materials to build warlock towers. It was as hard as steel. After being enchanted by warlocks, it would possess extraordinary qualities. A brick-sized steel rock cost upwards of 1 gold coin. The 60-meter-tall warlock tower required millions of gold coins to be spent on steel rocks alone. Coupled with various other materials, the warlock tower should cost upwards of 10 million gold coins to be built. Although the construction of a warlock tower was exceedingly costly, but it had various wonderful uses. A level 1 warlock coupled with enough apprentice warlocks could even contend against a level 2 warlock from within a warlock tower. Additionally, a warlock tower could gather elemental particles from its surroundings, which could accelerate the cultivation rate of powerhouses inside the warlock tower. Furthermore, some formidable warlocks could still use warlock towers to manipulate the weather within the scope of the warlock towers. Some rogue level 2 warlocks who didn't join any major forces didn't own a warlock tower. The Black Cottage could own a warlock tower because it was rooted in the Fernandro Principality and collected a large amount of wealth each year. A man looking to be 35 or 36 years old, wearing a gray warlock robe with 3 copper threads on the cuffs, was watering a strange flower with the face of a cat in the garden next to the warlock tower. The gray warlock robe meant that the man in his 30s was an apprentice warlock, and the 3 copper threads on the cuffs meant that he was a level 3 apprentice warlock. Above the level 3 apprentice warlock rank was the official level 1 warlock rank. There was an insurmountable chasm between level 3 apprentice warlocks and level 1 warlocks. In the Black Cottage, level 3 apprentice warlocks weren't that rare, yet there was only a single level 1 warlock who was the master of the Black Cottage. Zoro, today's water is too bland. I want to drink honey water. Don't use sugary water to fool me. The cat-faced flower swayed and made threatening gestures, saying. Zoro replied with a smile. There's no more honey. I'll buy some more in the afternoon. freowebnovel.com. No, go now. I'm dying of thirst. I'll die without honey. The cat-faced flower argued with Zoro. Wait a minute. The white raven is back. Zoro looked up, and then a white raven fell from the sky and landed on his right arm. Zoro, the giant stone city is in trouble. When the white raven landed on Zoro's right arm, it immediately chattered away and relayed Viscount Harley's message. Zoro calmly listened until the end, then turned around and went to the warlock tower. Zoro went to the 3rd floor of the warlock tower. He stopped in front of the door of the innermost room and knocked on the door. Teacher, it's Zoro. Come in. A rather aged voice came from the other side of the door. Zoro pushed the door open. Inside the room, a white-haired old man dressed in a black robe with a silver thread embroidered on the cuffs was writing something in front of a table. This black-robed old man was the official level 1 warlock Bonnie, the master of the Black Cottage and the ruler of the Black City. The fates of the 200,000 inhabitants of the Black City were in his grasp. Bonnie said impatiently without looking up. What's the matter? Speak up. Teacher. The Black Rock town was occupied by a warlock force. Without leaving anything out, Zoro respectfully reported the information he heard from the White Raven. Bonnie spoke impatiently. Have Rooney, Pocker, and Jamie take a few level 2 apprentice warlocks to support the giant stone city. Rooney, Parker, and Jamie were level 3 apprentice warlocks. Coupled with a few level 2 apprentice warlocks, they could defeat a 1,000-strong ordinary army. Yes, teacher, Zoro answered respectfully, then retreated and carefully closed the door before leaving. Before long, a cavalry set out to the giant stone city from the Black City. 3 days later, the cavalry entered the giant stone city. In the evening, a grand banquet was held in the city master's mansion to welcome the apprentice warlocks of the Black Cottage. After a night of revel, the apprentice warlocks of the Black Cottage rested for a day. On the 3rd day, a 2,000-strong elite army departed for the Black Rock Town from the giant stone city. Is this the army of the giant stone city? So many people. Yang Feng launched 4 micro-reconnaissance satellites to keep an eye on the movements of the giant stone city. He got the news as soon as the army of the giant stone city set out. Sitting in the newly established command center in the Black Rock Town, he observed the movements of the army through a big screen. In addition to the 2,000-strong elite army, the giant stone city still deployed 5,000 auxiliary troops carrying a large amount of supplies. The procession extending for a few kilometers looked very spectacular. In order to capture the Black Rock Town, to retrieve the strategic town in one fell swoop, the giant stone city mobilized a lot of siege weapons. Among the 2,000-strong elite army, there were 50 heavy cavalrymen. The 50 heavy cavalrymen could even kill a level 3 apprentice warlock. In the center of the army, next to an officer, stood a dozen young men and women dressed in gray robes with copper threads on the cuffs. They were the apprentice warlocks of the Black Cottage. Are they apprentice warlocks? Let me see what you're made of. Yang Feng put on the consciousness-transmitting helmet. In the next moment, in a barracks, a liquid metal robot opened its eyes. Its eyes flashed red, and its body twisted into Zhao Zhang's likeness. When he stepped out, Yang Feng saw the barracks filled with level 4 bladed robots, level 4 gunner robots, and level 4 artillery robots. The densely packed level 4 robots numbered more than 3,000. During this time, the Autumn Leaf Town and the Black Rock Town were transformed into 2 huge munitions factories. As long as there was enough iron ore, it would be even possible to produce 1,000 level 4 robots per day. This frightening force could easily destroy the giant stone city. Were it not for his apprehension of the warlock group Black Cottage, the backer of the giant stone city, Yang Feng would have long since dispatched his forces to attack the giant stone city. Set out. Following Yang Feng's command, the figures of the 3,000 level 4 battle robots flickered, and they followed closely behind him, sweeping towards the army of the giant stone city. Unlike humans, the 3,000 battle robots could reach a movement speed of 150 kilometers per hour, and they could keep this speed so long as they had enough energy. This was the gap between robots and humans. The road in the surroundings of the Black Rock Town wasn't smooth, which limited the movement speed of the battle robots. But the bladed robots could still maintain a frightening movement speed of 80 kilometers per hour. The source of this scene tent is freewebnovel.com. Half an hour later, the 3,000 battle robots led by Yang Feng reached a hillside 40 kilometers to the north of the Black Rock Town, and then lied in ambush. Chapter 12. As though crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Chapter 12. As though crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Translator, Zayamoj. After contemplating for a moment, Yang Feng had the artillery robots and the gunner robots hide, and then placed 400 bladed robots on the road. If it wasn't necessary, Yang Feng didn't intend to deploy the artillery robots and the gunner robots in this battle. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, warlocks had mysterious and powerful powers. Although the warlock group Black Cottage was already considered a tyrant in the Fernandro Principality, but there were still many other warlock groups no less powerful than the warlock group Black Cottage. With one more trump card, Yang Feng could catch the opponent off guard the next time he confronted another warlock group. About 10 minutes later, a squad of mounted scouts appeared on the road. When the group of scouts saw the 400 bladed robots standing orderly in the middle of the road, they quickly turned around and galloped towards the rear. Unconvinced by what he heard, Ryuk, the commander of the giant stone city's army, asked a scout, "What? You're saying that the bandits of the Black Rock Town are lined up neatly in the middle of the road?" The giant stone city dispatched all of its elites plus 50 heavy cavalrymen as well as a dozen apprentice warlocks. With this powerful force, even if he faced 10,000 bandits, Ryuk would still have the confidence to defeat them. In his view, the worst-case scenario was the bandits holding themselves up in the Black Rock town. The bandits, however, came out to fight and even stood confidently in the middle of the road. This was extremely foolish, and it left him very skeptical regarding the report of the scouts. The scout captain said quickly, "Yes, Sir Commander. If you don't believe me, you can ask my men." Ryuk frowned and turned pensive. With his many years of experience, he felt that something was wrong. The close to 2-meter-tall, bear-like Rooney said disdainfully, "Ryuk, it's just some moron who obtained some warlock inheritance by a fluke. With us here, he can't do anything. Such morons sprout up from time to time like weeds no matter how many are killed." Ryuk nodded, waved his hand, and commanded, "Proceed onward." The army of the giant stone city continued to move forward. Soon, they saw the 400-bladed robots standing neatly in the middle of the road. Ryuk frowned when he saw the 400-bladed robots stand neatly. Such a disciplined army was the toughest opponent. "Heavy cavalry, charge," ordered Ryuk. Having the heavy cavalry charge at the opponent and tear open the opponent's defenses was the most basic tactic to deal with infantry. Once the defenses of the infantry was torn apart by the tank-like heavy cavalry, the infantry's fate would be to get massacred. The 50 heavy cavalrymen were covered in heavy armor, man and mount alike. Holding 3-meter-long steel lances, the 50 human-shaped tanks urged their mounts and gradually accelerated and charged at the 400-bladed robots in an orderly formation. The armor of the 50 heavy cavalrymen weighed over 100 kilograms. Their mounts weren't ordinary horses, but wildebeests with demonic bloodline. Only the wildebeests with demonic bloodline were able to wear armor while carrying heavy cavalrymen weighing close to 200 kilograms. The heavy cavalrymen, except when coming across a warlock, were practically invincible on the battlefield. They were very formidable. Meanwhile, heavy cavalrymen were exceedingly difficult to support. The entire giant stone city only had 100 of them. The 50 heavy cavalrymen could defeat a 1,000-strong elite army. Faced with the charge of the 50 heavy cavalrymen, the 400-bladed robots also charged at the opponent. "Are they mad?" Incredulity flashed in the eyes of the giant stone city's people when they saw the 400-bladed robots charge towards the 50 heavy cavalrymen. Even an Earth Knight wouldn't dare to directly face the charge of a heavy cavalryman. freewebnovel.cm. Under everyone's incredulous gazes, the two groups collided fiercely. With sardonic smiles on their faces, the 50 heavy cavalrymen impaled the steel-forged bladed robots with their 3-meter-long lances. In the next moment, however, the smiles on the faces of the heavy cavalrymen froze. The impaled bladed robots didn't die. Expressionless, they brandished their alloy battle blades and ruthlessly slashed at the heavy cavalrymen. The heavy armor along with man and mount were split open by the level 4 bladed robots, and blood splashed about. In less than a minute, the 50 heavy cavalrymen of the giant stone city were killed to a man by the level 4 bladed robots. When they saw the 50 heavy cavalrymen being easily slashed to pieces by the level 4 bladed robots, the bodies of the soldiers of the giant stone city turned ice cold. Some of the new recruits even had their legs tremble and turned pale. Ryuk's face turned pale. Looking at the 400-bladed robots, his eyes flashed with fear. The thin and refined-looking Jamie stared at the exposed wires on the chests of the impaled level 4 bladed robots. Suddenly, his face fell, and he cried out, "Golems! Those aren't humans, but golems. Fuck, to have 400 golems. Motherfucker. That's not something we can resist. Retreat." Golems were battle weapons refined by alchemists. The fighting strength of each golem was comparable to that of a human knight rank powerhouse. Besides, they were more dauntless and more difficult to deal with than human knights. As a level 3 apprentice warlock, Jamie could easily kill a golem one-on-one. But against 400 golems, he would be easily sliced and diced. Jamie just finished speaking, when he waved his hand, and a black light flashed, and a 3-meter-long black locust with reins appeared in front of him. With a flick of his body, he jumped onto the enormous black locust. With a forceful jump, the enormous black locust crossed a dozen meters, and then escaped into the distance with a frightening speed of 120 kilometers per hour. Following Jamie's decisive escape, the other apprentice warlocks of the Black Cottage also released enormous black locusts, mounted them, and fled into the distance. As long as you advanced to an apprentice warlock, then no matter where you went in the Tyrannid subcontinent, you would receive recruitment offers from aristocrats, and subsequently lead a comfortable and prosperous life. Seeing that things went south, the apprentice warlocks naturally wouldn't sacrifice themselves for the giant stone city. When the apprentice warlocks escaped, the 5,000 auxiliary troops in the rear fell apart and fled in every which way. The source of this scenetent is freewebnovel.com. A bunch of incompetent fools. Commander Ryuk cursed in a low voice, and then looked at the expressionless blood-covered 400-bladed robots, which didn't exude any killing intent yet still struck fear into people's hearts, rushing over. Chapter 13 Attacking the Giant Stone City. Chapter 13 Attacking the Giant Stone City. Translator, Zayamoj. Before Ryuk could make up his mind should he battle or flee, the 400 human-shaped bladed robots rushed into the midst of the soldiers of the giant stone city, brandished their alloy battle blades alike 400 human-shaped meat grinders, and raised a storm of flesh and blood amidst the soldiers of the giant stone city. "Drop dead, bastard!" An advanced warrior skilled in martial arts bellowed hatefully and slashed at the shoulder of a bladed robot with his sword. Ding! The sword merely left a shallow cut on the shoulder of the bladed robot. No! The eyes of the advanced warrior flashed with despair, and he issued a heart-wrenching howl. In the next moment, the bladed robot slashed at the advanced warrior and splitting him in two, and blood sprayed onto the bladed robot. After killing the advanced warrior, the bladed robot mechanically stepped over the body of the advanced warrior and continued to kill the soldiers of the giant stone city, emotionless. Silent, unfeeling, fearless, and mechanical, this was the fighting style of mechanical soldiers. An army composed of such mechanical soldiers was what people with authority wished for the most. They would never disobey, their morale would never decline, and, even if they fought until the last one, they would never retreat. But a human army, even the most elite army, would collapse once casualties mounted to 30%. The battle didn't take long. The 2,000 elite warriors of the giant stone city suffered disastrous casualties and, alike an avalanche, scattered in all directions. "Let's go!" Ryuk clenched his teeth, turned around, and took his trusted troops to flee towards the giant stone city. "Drop your weapons and kneel on the ground, and you'll be spared. Drop your weapons and kneel on the ground, and you'll be spared." When he saw that the troops of the giant stone city collapsed, Yang Feng gave the order, and the 400-bladed robots shouted with their ice-cold, metallic voices. As if they received a divine decree, the remnant soldiers of the giant stone city dropped their weapons, knelt on the ground, and surrendered to Yang Feng. That was easy. After all, flesh and blood can't match up to steel. But it's a pity that I didn't got to experience the means of the apprentice warlocks. Yang Feng trod across the battlefield littered with flesh and blood, and, with creased eyebrows, watched the captives kneeling on the ground. Then he relaxed his eyebrows. Compared to the Earth, the Tyrannid subcontinent was a very cruel place. Here, practically all states possessed a large number of slaves. If he lost, Yang Feng would fall into slavery and live miserably. From the moment he attacked the Black Rock town, he could only forge ahead. Taking even a step back led to hell. Next, let me see what the giant stone city is capable of. He arranged for 50-bladed robots to escort the over 1,000 captives to the Black Rock town before quickly leading the over 3,000 battle robots towards the giant stone city. After half an hour of marching at full speed, the huge city wall of the giant stone city appeared before him. So this is the giant stone city. The Black Rock town really can't compare to it. The giant stone city was very majestic. Its city wall was 25 meters tall and made of large white rock, which was only second to steel rock. The 25-meter-tall city wall was so tall that it could prevent the majority of powerhouses and formidable life forms from jumping onto it. Among knights, only Sky Knight rank powerhouses could jump onto the 25-meter-tall city wall. Because the movement speed of Yang Feng's troops was too fast, his mechanical legion reached the giant stone city before the routed troops did. Consequently, the giant stone city's gate hadn't been closed yet. Charge! Eyes flashing with a cold glint, Yang Feng pointed towards the giant stone city and ordered. 400-bladed robots immediately unleashed their full speed and rushed towards the giant stone city at a frightening speed of 150 kilometers per hour. Who are you? Halt! When the soldiers collecting the entrance tax in front of the gate saw the 400-bladed robots, an ominous premonition welled up inside them, and they shouted. The bladed robots charged at the gate without paying attention to the shouts of the soldiers. With flashes of blades, the soldiers in front of the gate were killed and dropped to the ground. Enemy attack! There are enemies! Fuck! Who the hell are these people? Prepare for battle! A resonant alarm sounded inside the giant stone city, and an army stationed near the gate quickly emerged and charged at the bladed robots. The bladed robots launched a countercharge and rushed at the army. The two armies collided fiercely. In a flash, flesh and blood splashed about. The lives of the human army of the giant stone city were reaped like wheat by the bladed troops. The human army lasted less than a minute before it fell apart and scattered in every which way. The heavy cavalry, the most powerful troop of the giant stone city, wasn't a match for the bladed robots. The rest even more so couldn't match this terrifying mechanical army. After a few of their counterattacks were smashed, the guards of the giant stone city collapsed. Yang Feng left 50 bladed robots behind to hold the gate, and then commanded the remaining 350 bladed robots to attack the city master's mansion. New novel chapters are published on fruyobnl.com. Once he seized the gate, the entire giant stone city fell into chaos. All the enemies Yang Feng met along the way were killed by the 350 bladed robots. A lot of hooligans seized the opportunity to kill and pillage. So long as Yang Feng came across them, he would dispatch some bladed robots to kill them as well. The city master's mansion, an enormous castle twice as big as the Black Rock Town Castle, was located in middle of the giant stone city. It had a 15-meter-tall city wall, atop which stood the private troops of Viscount Harley. There were no trees or buildings within 600 meters of the palace. The 350 bladed robots had just rushed out of the streets, when 6-7-meter-long crossbow bolts were shot from atop of the city wall of the giant stone castle. 3 of the giant crossbow bolts hit 3 bladed robots and slammed them to the ground, leaving them incapacitated. Not in the least bit intimidated by the giant crossbows, the remaining bladed robots rushed expressionlessly at the giant stone castle. The bladed robots had just approached, when 200 archers appeared atop the city wall of the giant stone castle. A dense rain of arrows shot at the bladed robots from the sky. The bladed robots brushed the arrows shooting at them aside, while the lucky arrows that managed to hit them were ricocheted from their bodies. Only the 2 arrows shot by 2 knight-rank archers, who erupted with their frightening life force, managed to pierce into the hearts of 2 bladed robots. However, the vital point of the bladed robots wasn't located there. The 2 bladed robots with arrows stuck in their hearts expressionlessly arrived at the bottom of the city wall of the giant stone castle. Chapter 14, Capturing the Giant Stone City. Chapter 14, Capturing the Giant Stone City. Translator, Zayamoj. Finally, 6 apprentice warlocks dressed in gray robes appeared atop the city wall. These 6 were rogue apprentice warlocks whom Viscount Harley went to great lengths to recruit. In the Tyrandot subcontinent, warlocks grasped great power and wealth. Official warlocks would be recruited by some powerful warlock groups. Very few aristocrats could recruit official warlocks. Only greater aristocrats of powerful empires may be able to recruit an official warlock. Grease. An apprentice warlock pointed at a bladed robot and cast a level 0 spell. The bladed robot slipped and tumbled to the ground. Several heavy crossbows locked onto the bladed robot. In a flash, 3 frightening crossbow bolts shot at the bladed robot and blasted it into numerous metallic fragments. Arcane projectiles. Another apprentice warlock pointed at a bladed robot, and arcane projectiles shot at it like bullets. Arcane projectiles blasted into the chest of the bladed robot and hurled it several steps back. His chest sank in a little, but the bladed robot just swayed, and then continued to rush forward, unaffected. The level 0 spell arcane projectiles, which could inflict heavy damage on a knight rank powerhouse, didn't do much damage to the bladed robot. Instead, a strike from a knight rank powerhouse was a bigger threat to a bladed robot. Acid Rain. An apprentice warlock pointed at a bladed robot and sprayed it with acid, like having a basin of concentrated sulfuric acid poured on it. The bladed robot emitted white mist, and potholes were corroded onto the surface of its body. If sprayed by the acid, an ordinary human would have their upper body corroded and would be rendered incapacitated, suffering great pain. However, the bladed robot showed no reaction and still continued to charge. Acid Rain. Acid Rain. Acid Rain. The head of the bladed robot was completely corroded after being sprayed 4 times by acid rain, and it powerlessly fell to the ground. The 6 apprentice warlocks were too few in numbers. Although they managed to jointly knock down 7 bladed robots, yet the bladed robots still charged until the bottom of the city wall. When a bladed robot arrived at the bottom of the city wall, it put its alloy battle blades on its back and lifted its hands high. Then another bladed robot jumped onto its palms, and then also lifted its hands high. The bladed robots repeated this action, and quickly formed 6 human ladders. Bladed robots very agilely jumped up the 6 human ladders, and then jumped towards the city wall. Arcane projectiles. The 6 apprentice warlocks could only cast this level 0 spell. By relying on the spell's strong repelling strength, they shot down the bladed robots from midair. Follow current novels on fguyuyobinovel.com. However, the nimbleness of the bladed robots was too abnormal. The first wave of bladed robots was just repelled, when the second wave of bladed robots jumped atop the city wall. Brandishing their alloy battle blades, they ruthlessly slashed at the soldiers atop the city wall of the giant stone castle. Go to hell! A knight wearing heavy armor and holding a great sword roared angrily, then erupted with a powerful life energy, slashed at the head of a bladed robot in a surprise attack from the side, and sent its head flying. Before the heavy-armored knight could take a breath, 6 bladed robots pounced at him, and 12 huge alloy battle blades sliced at him from 6 directions. The martial prowess of the knight was strong, but he only managed to block 2 alloy battle blades before being sliced to pieces by the remaining alloy battle blades. Altogether there were 13 knight rank experts atop the wall, but under the siege of a large number of bladed robots, the 13 knight rank experts were quickly sliced and diced. Even with the apprentice warlocks providing assistance from the back, the knight rank experts still couldn't resist the bladed robots, which exchanged death for death. After the 13 knight rank experts were killed, the morale of the soldiers atop the city wall collapsed, and they either fled or knelt and begged for mercy. Before the 6 apprentice warlocks had time to escape, they were surrounded and sliced to pieces by the bladed robots. Only their heads were left intact. Drop your weapons and kneel on the ground, and you'll be spared. Yang Feng gave the order, and the bladed robots started shouting loudly as they killed the routed troops. Most of the soldiers of the giant stone castle were part of Viscount Harley's private troops, and their fighting strength and loyalty were far higher than those of the average soldiers of the giant stone city. Thus, only some chose to surrender while the rest were killed by the bladed robots. Viscount Harley was just a knight rank expert, and was soon killed under the siege of 7 bladed robots. Thus, the giant stone castle also fell into Yang Feng's hands. The forces of the 4 major families of the giant stone city took advantage of Yang Feng leading his troops to attack the giant stone castle and left the giant stone city. A large number of aristocrats also fled the giant stone city along with large amounts of gold, silver, and other valuables. Yang Feng lost less than 20 bladed troops during the capture of the giant stone city. After occupying the giant stone city, he dispatched some bladed robots to attack the ancillary towns of the giant stone city. The ancillary towns were easily captured by his mechanical legion, and their lords were uprooted. Freewebnovel.com. A lot of land fell into his hands, and large numbers of engineering robots were dispatched to the towns to build solar umbrellas and munitions factories. After he seized the giant stone city and its ancillaries, the territory under Yang Feng's control became 100 times bigger. The surroundings of the giant stone city were rich in mineral resources. So long as the basic facilities were built, then the number of battle robots he could build per day would increase by 50 times. Additionally, with the construction of a large number of solar umbrellas, he no longer lacked in energy. He could gradually phase out the level 4 battle robots and produce a large number of level 6 and level 7 battle robots. Level 6 and level 7 battle robots were the strongest battle robots he could mass-produce at the moment. Previously, he chose to produce a large number of level 4 battle robots because he had enough steel but lacked energy. After taking hold of the giant stone city, his situation reversed. He had enough energy, but lacked steel. The day after capturing the giant stone city, Yang Feng led the fully charged mechanical legion towards the Black Cottage. Judging by the information uncovered from Viscount Harley's head, the master of the Black Cottage was an old freak who had over a century, and had exceedingly vast connections. The Black Cottage Warlock Group not only was on good terms with the Warlock Group backing the Fernandro Principality, but it still had close ties with many other Warlock groups. Once the Black Cottage mobilized its full power and asked for help, the enemy Yang Feng would have to face wouldn't be just the Black Cottage Warlock Group. The capture of the giant stone city came as no surprise to him. His true enemy was the Black Cottage. Chapter 15 Level 1 Warlock Bonnie. Chapter 15 Level 1 Warlock Bonnie. Translator, Zayamoj. After an hour of marching, Yang Feng's mechanical legion appeared in front of the Black City. The Black City had already entered the state of emergency. The gate was closed, and there were soldiers patrolling atop the city wall at all times. His mechanical legion had just appeared near the Black City, when squads of soldiers arrived at various outposts and eyed his mechanical legion in the distance with great vigilance. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with an extraordinary splendor. What a quick response! There were clearly no scouts along the way, yet they were still able to react so quickly. Warlock means are really impressive. He dispatched a microsatellite to keep an eye on the Black City. Shortly after he left the giant stone city with his mechanical legion, the Black City had made its response, and numerous soldiers orderly arrived at their outposts, ready for battle. The Warlock Tower in the middle of the Black City erupted with light. Attracted by a mysterious force, a white cloud landed on the Black City and condensed into Bonnie's figure, who was dressed in a black robe with a silver thread on the cuffs. freewebvl.com. Bonnie stared at Yang Feng in the middle of the mechanical legion and said gravely, "I am Bonnie, the master of the Black Cottage, master of the Golem Legion. How do I address you? I am Steel Lord Yang Yuan." Yang Feng had changed his appearance to that of another person with prominent features. He looked at Bonnie in the sky and said slowly, "In this world, warlocks possessed countless secret methods. Among them, there were even some very strange curses capable of cursing a person via just their name. Such curses weren't powerful, and a formidable level 1 warlock like Bonnie could easily resist them. However, Yang Feng was nothing more than a good-for-nothing earthling. He had no resistance to curses. He would die once cursed. Therefore, he didn't dare to casually announce his real name. Bonnie said coldly, "Steel Lord Yang Yi, there is no enmity between us, so why have you come to attack us? The Black Cottage has been on good terms with the Fernandro family for generations. The Fernandro family not only has a level 2 warlock as its backer, but it also has a close relationship with the Warlock College Antalya. Your attack on the Black Cottage is akin to opposing the Fernandro family and the Warlock College Antalya." The Warlock College Antalya? Yang Feng frowned and started to recall the memories read form the heads of the few apprentice warlocks. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, warlocks had control over everything. The royal families of empires and principalities were largely controlled by warlock families. The Fernandro Principality was controlled by the warlock family called the Fernandro family. Reportedly, the Fernandro family had a very formidable level 2 warlock. 3790 SIX's voice sounded in Yang Feng's mind. The Warlock College Antalya, White Elephant Ivory, Eyes of Justice, Rose Garden, Savage Claw, and Black Dragon Tower are the 6 strongest warlock groups in the Tyrannid subcontinent. Reportedly, Every one of the 6 major forces is backed by great warlocks. Read 8 chapters at fguyuyobinovel.com only. Yang Feng had just taken a rough look at the memories of the apprentice warlocks. He couldn't access them freely. Only 3796, with its supercomputing chip, could freely access all kinds of information. Why have I come to attack the Black Cottage? His eyes flashed with a cold glint, and he uttered with a sneer, "There are many reasons. The biggest reason is that the Black Cottage is in my way." Yang Feng's eyes flashed with frigid killing intent, and he continued coldly, "In order to tread further on the warlock path, you need more resources. I fancy the resources of the Fernandro Principality. Bonnie, if you know what's good for you, submit to me. I can give you a good position. Otherwise, you will die here today. You will be my first stepping stone on the warlock path." Warlocks were first-rate existences in the Tyrannid subcontinent, and each one of them possessed extraordinary strength. Though what was most attractive to Yang Feng was that his lifespan would increase to 200 years once he became an official level 1 warlock, to 300 years once he became a level 2 warlock, and to 400 years once he became a level 3 warlocks. His lifespan would even increase to 1,000 years once he promoted to a great warlock. It was exceedingly difficult to become a warlock. First, you had to possess an aptitude for cultivation. Generally speaking, the chances that the descendants of warlocks had an aptitude for cultivation were much higher than those of ordinary people. In other words, the chances that those born into the aristocracy had an aptitude for cultivation were fairly high. Additionally, to practice cultivation as a warlock, you had to learn various bodies of knowledge. Every piece of knowledge had great value. If their cultivation aptitude was heaven-defying and they were lucky enough to be discovered by others, then ordinary people would also have a chance to tread the warlock path. As a good-for-nothing earthling, Yang Feng's aptitude for cultivation was hopeless. However, inherent shortcomings could be supplemented. Similarly, a shortcoming in terms of cultivation aptitude could be supplemented with enormous quantities of resources. With the resources of the entire Fernandro Principality, it was possible for him to promote to an official level 1 warlock. Bonnie responded coldly, "You'll pay for your arrogance and stupidity." Yang Feng smiled coldly and ordered, "Attack!" 400-bladed robots abruptly acted and quickly darted towards the Black City. Swamp Field. Inside the Warlock Tower in the middle of the Black City, Bonnie pointed and cast a level 1 spell. The 60-meter-tall Warlock Tower flashed with light, and a powerful and mysterious fluctuation of power suddenly enveloped a tract of land in front of the Black City. A huge swamp appeared in front of the Black City. The swamp was 3 kilometers long and 100 meters wide. Originally, the level 1 spell Swamp Field wasn't so frightening, and couldn't form the huge swamp in a flash. However, such a miracle was possible with the boost from the Warlock Tower. There was an accepted truth in the Tyrannid subcontinent. If you weren't stronger by at least 2 ranks, then you should never challenge a warlock in a Warlock Tower, as that would be suicidal. Faced with the swamp that suddenly appeared at their feet, the 400-bladed robots couldn't avoid falling inside. They got entangled by the swamp and gradually sank. The more the bladed robots struggled, the faster they sank. Before long, they were submerged in the swamp. The soldiers atop the city wall burst into cheers when they saw the 400-bladed robots sink into the swamp. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with excitement, and he muttered, "Amazing! That's really amazing. This is the power of a warlock. So formidable." For him, who was determination to tread the warlock path, the more powerful warlocks were, the more his interest would be piqued. One Yang Yi. Chapter 16, 30,000 Bladed Robots. Chapter 16, 30,000 Bladed Robots. Translator, Zayamoj. After the huge swamp field swallowed the 400 battle robots, the mysterious power disappeared, and the ground returned to normal. 10 meters. Is this your limit? My golems can handle this much, Bonnie. Yang Feng sneered and waved his hand, and 100 bladed robots blurred into motion. They swiftly arrived at the place where the 400 bladed robots were buried, then took out huge shovels and started to dig out the 400 bladed robots out of the ground. Bonnie was merely a level 1 warlock after all, and even though he had the support from the warlock tower, but the level 1 swamp field spell could only trap the battle robots 10-odd meters underground. If the opponent was human, burying them 10 meters underground would certainly take their life. But for bladed robots, burying them underground would only render them immobile. Attack! An officer roared atop the city wall. Huge catapults and heavy crossbows appeared atop the city wall. 7-meter-long heavy bolts and huge rocks weighing 1 or 2 tons were hurled at the 100 bladed robots. A heavy bolt shot a bladed robot in the chest, blasting its upper body into numerous pieces of scrap metal. A huge rock weighing 1 ton dropped from the sky and smashed a bladed robot. The Black City had the backing of the Black Cottage Warlock Group, and as such it was 100 times more prosperous than the giant Stone City, and had at least 10 times the number of the various heavy weapons. Bladed robots were smashed and blasted into pieces under the assault from the various heavy weapons. Yang Feng's face didn't register any change as he watched his bladed robots being wrecked by the heavy weapons. The level 4 bladed robots were of the lowest tech. So long as their remains were retrieved, they could be smelted and quickly manufactured anew at the expense of a bit of energy. No matter how many bladed robots were destroyed, so long as he won, the remains could be retrieved and used to manufacture new bladed robots. It was equivalent to the bladed robots being reborn indefinitely. It was because of this that Yang Feng could use his bladed robots freely, and didn't care about the casualties. Fireball! After the heavy weapons of the Black City fired a few volleys and destroyed a large number of bladed robots, Bonnie pointed with his finger and cast the level 1 spell Fireball. Fireball-like shells flew from the Warlock Tower, slammed into the remaining bladed robots, and blasted them into pieces. The source of this scentent is freewebnovel.com. When they saw the bladed robots being blown apart, the soldiers atop the Black City's city wall burst into cheers, and their morale was boosted greatly. Amazing! A warlock coupled with a warlock tower is like a humanoid self-propelled gun with unlimited ammunition. Besides, it's still a multifunction humanoid self-propelled gun. It looks like I have to get a bit more serious. Yang Feng looked as the blasted apart bladed robots, smiled slightly, and clapped his hands. Bladed robots gradually appeared from the thicket behind him. 10, 100, 1,000, 10,000, 30,000. 30,000 bladed robots appeared from behind him and formed a dense mechanical legion that at first glance seemed to be boundless. The complexions of the warriors atop the city wall changed along with the appearance of the bladed robots. When they saw the 30,000 bladed robots split into 3 corps, their faces paled, and despair flashed in their eyes. A human officer with a pale complexion said in a trembling voice, "How is this possible? How come there are so many golems?" Another human officer with a pale complexion muttered, "Impossible! A knight-rank golem cost at least 3,000 gold coins. This many golems are worth 90 million gold coins. How could a mere apprentice warlock have so many golems? Are we facing a great warlock-rank alchemist?" When Bonnie, who was midair, saw the 30,000 bladed robots, his eyes bulged out and he screeched, "No! How can you have so many golems?" Faced against hundreds of knight-rank golems, the level 1 warlock Bonnie could easily handle them with the help of the warlock tower. But against 30,000 knight-rank golems, Bonnie had no certainty of victory. The 30,000 bladed robots formed 3 huge square-shaped, uniform and orderly formations of 10,000 bladed robots. Each mechanical core was silent and ice-cold. Compared to elite human warriors, bladed robots were even more obedient and orderly. Just by standing there, they gave people a sense of oppression. Yang Feng ordered coldly, "Attack!" The 3 mechanical corps dispersed and rushed towards the Black City from different directions. Swamp Field. Bonnie's complexion suddenly changed greatly and he cast the terrain-altering spell again. A powerful fluctuation erupted from the Warlock Tower, enveloped the land in front of the Black City, and formed a huge swamp. Bladed robots jumped directly into the swamp, raised up their hands, and, while sinking slowly, formed something akin to platforms. The bladed robots in the rear stepped on the platforms formed from the bladed robots in front of them and charged forward. The level 1 spell swamp field cast by Bonnie was very vast in scope. However, he was just a level 1 warlock after all. Thus, although the swamp field was vast in scope, but its depth was fairly low, merely at 10 meters. Just 5 bladed robots could form a platform in the swamp. The bladed robots had a strong computing power. They accurately stepped on the platforms and swiftly jumped over the huge swamp field, and then darted towards the bottom of the city wall. As soon as they reached the bottom of the city wall, the bladed robots quickly set up human ladders. The soldiers atop the city wall poured scalding water and boiling oil on the bladed robots, but to no avail. Buckets of lamp oil were also poured down. Next, a torch was thrown onto the lamp oil, and a huge sea of flames enveloped the bladed robots. The bladed robots within the burning sea of flames were still unfazed, unless the temperature of the flames reached their melting point. Otherwise, they would be as steadfast as steel. Chapter 17 Steel Golems. Chapter 17 Steel Golems. Translator: Zayamoj. Almost none of the attacks had any effect on the bladed robots. Only when some knight-rank powerhouses raised huge stones would they be able to smash a dozen bladed robots. But that was also the final resistance of the human soldiers in the Black City. When 20 human ladders were erected, a large number of bladed robots poured in. Go to hell. All of you go to hell. You fucking golems. A great knight holding a 2-meter-long sword and wearing over 100 kilograms in heavy armor gave a furious roar, charged in front of a bladed robot, and slashed at the bladed robot, slicing it in two. The great knight was followed by 8 knights, forming a small arrow formation. Wherever the frightening sword the great knight brandished passed through, the bladed robots would be either jolted away or sliced in half. The 8 knights beside the great knight protected his flanks and rear, so that he could display his strength freely without being besieged. But the outbreak of the great knight was like the sunset at dusk. No matter how hard he fought, the number of bladed robots atop the city wall still increased. Fearless and expressionless, the bladed robots brandishing their alloy blades rushed into the middle of the human soldiers and raised a storm of flesh and blood. Carnage, accompanied by the screams of numerous human soldiers of the Black City, ensued atop the city wall. Under the assault of the bladed robots, the human troops crumbled one after another and scattered about. It didn't take long before there were only 4 knight squads headed by great knights remained atop the city wall that still stubbornly resisted. The huge mechanical legion of bladed robots directly advanced towards the Warlock Tower, while only 1,000 bladed robots separated to surround the remaining 4 knight squads. Surrender. Submit and you'll be able to live. Otherwise, die. A bladed robot said in a frigid and synthetic voice towards the 4 knight squads. Knight-rank powerhouses were extremely rare in the human world. Practically only 1 in a 1,000 ordinary people had a chance to become a knight-rank powerhouse. The 4 knight squads were the essence of the Black City. If they surrendered, then Yang Feng would have smooth sailing in the human society of the Tyrannid subcontinent. Tui, you monster! Eat shit! The eyes of the burly great knight Bennett flashed with an unruly glint and he spat at the bladed robot. The bladed robot ordered coldly, "Kill everyone in this squad." 200 bladed robots moved simultaneously and pounced at Bennett and his 7 subordinates from all directions. "Let's break out!" Bennett roared, brandished the sword in his hands, and slashed at the bladed robots that had already rushed over. "Ah! Save me!" Practically at the same time, Bennett heard cries for help. He turned around, only to see the comrades in arms who followed him to be sliced into numerous pieces by the unending flow of bladed robots. This content is taken from fgaribnovel.com. Bennett's 7 squad members were killed by the bladed robots in less than 5 breaths of time. Going all out, the 7 squad members managed to destroy 5 bladed robots. "No! Bastards!" His eyes bloodshot, Bennett issued a heart-rending roar, brandished his sword, slashed at the waist of a bladed robot, and instantly sliced it across the waist. 12 alloy blades sliced at Bennett from 6 directions. After loosing the protection from his squad members, he barely managed to block 4 alloy blades before being sliced into numerous pieces. When the remaining 3 knight squads saw this scene, a chill welled up inside them. Bennett was the strongest great knight in the Black City. Such a powerhouse was easily defeated by the bladed robots. Ergo, if they persisted in their resistance, only death would await them. "I surrender." The burly, bearded middle-aged man John looked at the knights behind him, then gave a long sigh and dropped his sword. Secretly relieved, John's squad members dropped their swords. After John surrendered, the powerhouses of the remaining 2 knight squads also chose to surrender. The huge mechanical legion crushed the weak resistance of the Black City as it marched forward, and soon arrived before the Warlock Tower. Acid rain, dark rays, arcane projectiles. Just as the mechanical legion reached 200 meters from the Warlock Tower, over 100 level 0 spells slammed into the midst of the bladed robots and destroyed dozens of them. Over 100 apprentice warlocks of the Black Cottage stood on the 2nd floor of the Warlock Tower. The over 100 apprentice warlocks were the backbone of the Black Cottage. The Warlock Tower had magic strengthening properties. The fighting strength the over 100 apprentice warlocks could display within the Warlock Tower was comparable to that of quite a few level 1 warlocks. After dozens of bladed robots were destroyed, the remaining huge mechanical legion was unaffected, and still rushed at the Warlock Tower. At this moment, the gate of the Warlock Tower opened and 2 7-meter-tall steel golems with 2 6-meter-long, frightening swords strode out of the Warlock Tower. Once the 2 steel golems appeared, their ruby eyes flashed with red light, then they brandished their swords and fiercely slashed at the bladed robots. A bladed robot raised its alloy blades to block in front of it. A steel golem slashed heavily with its sword at the alloy blades of the bladed robot and forcibly smashed the bladed robot along with its alloy blades. Great strength. Agility. Firmly defending the entrance to the Warlock Tower, the 2 steel golems frantically destroyed the bladed robots. In the Warlock Tower, the over 100 apprentice warlocks continuously cast level 0 spells to strengthen the battle prowess of the steel golems. The steel golems were weapons that a genuine alchemist spent a lot of effort and numerous precious materials to refine. Not only did they have Sky Knight rank fighting strength, but they could still bear the boost from various status spells. They were formidable. Once mobilized, the 2 steel golems were even capable of defeating a 1,000-strong ordinary army. The apprentice warlocks unceasingly attacked the bladed robots with different level 0 spells from the Warlock Tower so that they couldn't besiege the 2 steel golems. Although the 2 steel golems had terrifying battle prowess, but once besieged by hundreds and thousands of bladed robots, only destruction would await them. The bladed robots had no notion of morale. No matter how many of them were destroyed, they would keep slashing at the prey in front of them as long as Yang Feng didn't give the order for them to stop. Chapter 18 Fiend Morph. Chapter 18 Fiend Morph. Translator Zayamoj. When a bladed robot arrived in front of the Warlock Tower, it pressed its hands against the Warlock Tower, and tiny suckers extended from its fingers and firmly latched onto the tower. Alternating its hands, it very nimbly climbed along the smooth wall of the Warlock Tower. Although the 2 steel golems held many bladed robots in check, but a large number of bladed robots still went to climb the wall of the Warlock Tower from other directions. A dense crowd of bladed robots climbed the Warlock Tower like ants, painting a terrifying picture. When they saw this scene, the complexions of many apprentice warlocks within the Warlock Tower paled, and fear flashed in their eyes. The apprentice warlocks had adventured out and defeated a lot of enemies at one point or another. However, they had never witnessed such a large crowd of freaks. No matter how many bladed robots they knocked down, there would be more to take their place. This sense of endless struggle was despairing. Arcane projectiles. Acid rain. Dark rays. There were 4 windows on the 2nd floor of the Warlock Tower. The apprentice warlocks at the 4 windows were under an unbearable pressure as they bombarded the bladed robots with spells and shot them down one at a time. After the bladed robots fell to the ground, they would quickly climb towards the windows of the Warlock Tower again, so long as their core microchip wasn't destroyed. Loosing the support of the apprentice warlocks, the two steel golems were frantically besieged by hundreds of unrelenting bladed robots. The two steel golems only managed to resist for a dozen rounds, before they were dismembered by the hundreds of bladed robots, and fell to the ground. However, before they fell to the ground, they still managed to destroy over 150 bladed robots. When the two steel golems fell, numerous bladed robots surged towards the warlock tower. Some put away their alloy blades and extended a drill bit from each hand, resolutely thrust them towards the gate of the warlock tower, frantically spun them and drilled holes into the gate. Brandishing their alloy blades, others slashed violently at the gate and cut shallow marks into it. freewebnovel.com. Watching the bladed robots besiege the warlock tower from afar, Yang Feng puzzled. The official level 1 warlock Bonnie hadn't made a move this whole time. What was he thinking? If he acted, he might be able to destroy hundreds of bladed robots. For Yang Feng, as long as he won, he wouldn't particularly mind even if thousands of bladed robots were destroyed. The bladed robots could be remelted and reborn in the munitions factories. Only if the enemy was clever and took away the remains of the bladed robots, only then could it be considered as really killing the bladed robots. Fireball! Suddenly, the warlock tower lit up with a light and, while practically forming a line, 10 huge fireballs slammed towards Yang Feng. The bladed robots around Yang Feng jumped up to strike at the fireballs. Boom! 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 Following deafening explosions, the bladed robots were blasted into pieces by the huge fireballs. Yang Feng sneered and said, "Decapitation strike? A great idea indeed. Unfortunately, it's not so simple to kill me." "Really? Go to hell, Steel Lord Yang Yi." A gloomy and tyrannical voice came from amid the huge explosions. Suddenly, a large amount of black fog gushed out and shrouded Yang Feng and 800 bladed robots around him in a flash. In the blink of the eye, a thick darkness swallowed him and deprived him of his sight. Yang Feng said calmly, "Turn on the infrared scanning system and acoustic location. Die!" Following an angry voice, a claw cut open Yang Feng's chest. Practically at the same time, Yang Feng turned on the infrared scanning system and the acoustic location system. After the information obtained from the two systems was reconstructed and analyzed, he saw the image of someone cutting open his chest. Meanwhile, Bonnie had transformed into a 3-meter-tall black fiend with horns on his head and wings on his back. 3796 transmitted the collected data into Yang Feng's mind. Fiend morph. It's a secret method of bloodline warlocks. By transplanting fiend bloodlines, warlocks can obtain the formidable power of fiends. Fiends were extremely powerful freaks. The lowest fiends had level 1 warlock rank battle prowess. Additionally, they weren't only physically strong, but also innately skilled in casting spells. Some warlocks liked to transplant fiend bloodlines, so that they could quickly become very powerful, and their cultivation could become smoother. Bloodline warlocks were warlocks that transplanted different kinds of bloodlines into their bodies and gained the strength of formidable freaks. Such warlocks would obtain great power once the transplant of formidable bloodlines was successful. They were the warlocks who most easily gained formidable strength. The only drawback was that once their body and the transplanted bloodlines were incompatible, they might explode, go crazy, or be exposed to other dangers. Bonnie was already a peak level 1 warlock, but after undergoing fiend morph, his fighting strength became equivalent to that of the weakest level 2 warlock. If this attack succeeded, it would easily pierce Yang Feng's heart. You don't have a heart. No, you're a golem? No. What's going on? What the hell are you?" After Bonnie's claw pierced Yang Feng's chest, the sinister smile on his face suddenly changed dramatically and turned into shock. He ripped out a liquid metal heart from where Yang Feng's heart was supposed to be. The liquid metal heart flew out of Bonnie's hand and entered Yang Feng's body. The most up-to-date noves are published on freewebnovel.co. The master of the Black Cottage is indeed formidable. Let me give you a gift. Yang Feng smiled at Bonnie, and his body exploded in a flash. Warping force field. Bonnie's face suddenly changed greatly, and he cast a level 1 defensive spell. Boom! Boom, boom, boom. At the same time, the 800-bladed robots around Yang Feng detonated, and frightening explosions engulfed Bonnie and everything around him in a flash. The earth shook and violent shock waves spread about, raising smoke. The smoke from the explosions still hadn't completely dispersed when 200-bladed robots quickly plunged into the smoke. Shortly after, the 200-bladed robots came out with Bonnie's rather damaged body. Chapter 19, Capturing the Black Cottage. Chapter 19, Capturing the Black Cottage. Translator, Zayamoj. Yang Feng stepped out from the side, looked at Bonnie, and praised, "Amazing! He's not dead yet. The vitality of a fiend fleshly body sure is formidable." Bonnie was injured all over, his eyes closed shut, bleeding profusely, yet his chest still slowly moved up and down. Clearly, he wasn't dead yet. Besides, some of the minor wounds on his body have already begun to heal. Unlike humans, fiends were freaks with great vitality. Their fleshly bodies were very powerful and their rate of recovery was exceedingly frightening. Some great fiends of noble bloodline could slowly recover and grow a new body even if only a heart remained of them. I currently can't subdue a level 1 warlock. Kill him, but keep his head. At Yang Feng's command, a bladed robot stepped forward and sliced of Bonnie's head. Thus, with his head and body separated, the master of the Black Cottage Bonnie, and a formidable level 1 warlock, died to Yang Feng. Yang Feng looked at the body of the fiend bloodline warlock Bonnie, and felt fearful inside. Warlock means are really strange and formidable. If my true body were here, I would have already died. My true body is still too weak. The mechanical legion under Yang Feng's control was so powerful that even an official level 1 warlock could be killed. The mechanical legion's only weakness was his true body. Once his true body died, the entire mechanical legion would collapse. As such, Yang Feng didn't dare to have his true body appear in person on the battlefield. Fortunately, he was cautious enough, or else he would have died by now. Bonnie is dead. Do you still want to continue to resist? A bladed robot came to in front of the warlock tower with Bonnie's head in hand and shouted towards the apprentice warlocks inside. Teacher! Teacher! Dot! The complexions of the apprentice warlocks inside the warlock tower suddenly registered fierce changes, and their morale dropped to the extreme. A male apprentice warlock waved his hand, released a huge white swan, jumped on the back of the huge swan, and rode it into the sky. Yang Feng took a look at the huge swan, but didn't command the gunner robots lying in ambush in the vicinity to shoot it. In the Black Cottage, only the level 1 warlock Bonnie was worthy of his attention. He didn't care about the remaining apprentice warlocks. If they want to flee, so be it. Apprentice warlocks who could summon life forms capable of flight were very rare. In the entire warlock tower, only that apprentice warlock had such a life form. After seeing Bonnie's head, the morale of the remaining apprentice warlocks dropped, and most of them chose to surrender. Only a handful of apprentice warlocks resisted, and then were minced by the bladed robots. freewebnovel.com. The surrender of the warlock tower meant that the entire Black City fell into Yang Feng's hands. He immediately dispatched his mechanical legion to preserve the order of the Black City, killing all thugs that looted and pillaged. After killing 100 to 200 thugs, the entire Black City regained its order and reluctantly entered Yang Feng's control. Once the Black City fell into his hands, Yang Feng transferred a large number of engineering robots to the Black City and began constructions. He wanted to forge the Black City into a steel fortress. The Black City was located in the central part of the Fernandro Principality. If you controlled the Black City, you could easily control the Giant Stone City, Tree Mountain City, Green Hill City, and Sea Salt City. Once the Black City was forged into a steel fortress, then even if the Fernandro Principality went to attack it, even if the Principality paid a huge price in blood, it still might suffer a defeat. The Black Cottage at the top floor of the Warlock Tower. Yang Feng said faintly, "Begin!" "Yes, Master." Numerous fine, mechanical tentacles extended from a faceless liquid metal robot and pierced into Bonnie's head. Shortly after, the liquid metal robot twisted and turned, and slowly transformed into Bonnie's likeness. 3 hours later, a person that looked exactly the same as Bonnie appeared in front of Yang Feng. The transformed liquid metal robot spoke. Master, I've read all the memories pertaining to warlocks inside Bonnie's brain and uploaded them into 3790 SIXS database. Yang Feng's eyes brightened, and he asked expectantly, "Can you cast spells?" Warlocks not only had strong fleshly bodies, but also grasped a variety of powerful spells. An official level 1 warlock could even contend against an ordinary army. The liquid metal robot replied mechanically, "I can't. I know all of Bonnie's spells. However, the principle of spellcasting is to construct a spell model in the sea of knowledge, inject spirit force into it, and have it transform into a spell. I can construct spell models in the microchip, but I don't have spirit force, which is a special life energy that only life forms with souls can birth. Therefore, I can't cast spells." Can't cast spells. Yang Feng sighed in disappointed. Some offensive spells cast by warlocks were so bizarre that you could only resist them through warlock means. Although his mechanical legion was very powerful, but a strange level 1 curse could take his life. He was eager to have a powerful level 1 warlock as his bodyguard. This way, his safety would be more assured. Yang Feng asked, "How many magic traps set up by Bonnie are there still inside the warlock tower?" Warlocks were fond of laying magic traps in their warlock towers. Once you entered a warlock tower without the acknowledgement of its master, you would trigger its magic traps and die. There are 23 magic traps that can kill a level 1 warlock and 215 magic traps that can kill an apprentice warlock. You can break these magic traps by dispatching bladed robots to trigger them, master. Yang Feng uttered solemnly, "I want to practice cultivation and become a warlock, test my soul aptitude." In the Tyrannid subcontinent, theoretically everyone could practice cultivation and become a warlock. However, the soul aptitude for practicing cultivation was divided into 9 levels. This chapter is updated by freewebnovel.com. People with level 1 soul aptitude were ordinary people with the lowest soul aptitude. With this soul aptitude and without a formidable background, no warlock group would accept you, because with this soul aptitude, even becoming a level 1 apprentice warlock would be extremely difficult. People with level 2 soul aptitude were slightly better. So long as they tried hard, they could still become a level 1 apprentice warlock. But it was still very difficult for such people to join a warlock group. People with level 3 soul aptitude were even better. So long as they gave their all, they could become a level 3 apprentice warlock. Such people were used for various odd jobs by many warlock groups. People with level 4 soul aptitude had ordinary cultivation aptitude. By working hard, they had a bit of hope at advancing to a level 1 warlock. People with level 5 soul aptitude could be considered as outstanding. By working hard, and with some fortuitous encounters, they had great hope at becoming a level 1 warlock. People with level 6 soul aptitude could be considered as geniuses. So long as they had access to a good secret method and sufficient resources, they could easily promote to a level 1 warlock. People with level 7 soul aptitude could be considered as peerless geniuses. So long as they had a good secret method, then even if the resources were a little lacking, they could still promote to a level 1 warlock. People with level 8 soul aptitude could be considered as freaks. So long as they had a secret method, becoming a level 1 warlock was nothing much. Even if the resources were lacking, they could still promote to a level 3 warlock without running into any difficulties. People with level 9 soul aptitude were legendary personages. So long as they had a secret method and some stroke of luck, and assuming that they didn't get killed by some enemy beforehand, they could become bigwigs that left their mark in the annals of history. Most official warlocks in the Tyrannid subcontinent had level 4, 5, or 6 soul aptitude. Warlocks with soul aptitude higher than level 6 were extremely rare. Bonnie was a warlock with just a level 5 soul aptitude. Chapter 20 Taboo Stone. Chapter 20 Taboo Stone. Translator, Zayamoj. Robot Bonnie responded respectfully, "Yes, Master." Shortly after, a transparent white crystal ball with a seal in its center was brought by a bladed robot. Robot Bonnie said, "Please put your hand on this crystal ball. This crystal ball will test your soul aptitude." Yang Feng placed his hand on the crystal ball and pressed softly. The crystal ball flickered with a weak white light. Robot Bonnie said, "Master, your soul aptitude for cultivation is inferior level 1. According to Bonnie's memories, with your soul aptitude, unless you transplanted the bloodline of a formidable life form or used a lot of extremely precious elixirs that can strengthen the soul aptitude of cultivators, it will be extremely difficult for you to cultivate until an official level 1 warlock in your lifetime. So I'm a waste." Yang Feng's mouth twitched. He had anticipated that his cultivation aptitude wouldn't be too good, yet he hadn't imagined that it would be so rotten. Inferior level 1 was the bottom of the barrel in the Tyrannid subcontinent. Even the cultivation aptitude of a random peasant may be better than his. He asked, "Can you concoct soul aptitude strengthening elixirs?" Bonnie wasn't a pharmacist, although he had some rough knowledge of pharmacology, but he could only refine some basic elixirs. He didn't have the ability to refine soul aptitude strengthening elixirs. As I succeeded his memories, I can only refine some basic elixirs. I'm incapable of refining level 1 elixirs. Additionally, soul aptitude strengthening elixir formulas are grasped by major forces. There was no such elixir formula within Bonnie's memories. Yang Feng asked expectantly, "I want to become a warlock. What would be the best course of action to achieve that?" This content is taken from freowebnovel.com. Bonnie was an official level 1 warlock who lived for over 100 years in the Tyrannid subcontinent, so he was far more knowledgeable than Yang Feng. With an official level 1 warlock who was like a small cultivation encyclopedia on hand, he could avoid a lot of detours. An official warlock was far more knowledgeable than an apprentice warlock. It could be said that the gap between an official warlock and an apprentice warlock was like a chasm. The Warlock College Entalia, White Elephant Ivory, Eyes of Justice, Rose Garden, Savage Claws, and Black Dragon Tower. These are the 6 strongest warlock groups of the Tyrannid subcontinent. They are also the warlock groups with the most complete warlock inheritances. Among them, the Warlock College Entalia has the most comprehensive foundation with the most open-minded education style. Master, if you join the Warlock College Entalia, you may get the chance to receive a formidable warlock inheritance. Robot Bonnie replied. Yang Feng creased his brows slightly and asked, "You can't teach me?" The best warlock inheritance of the Black Cottage can be cultivated until a level 3 warlock. However, it requires a superior level 6 soul aptitude as well as huge quantities of cultivation resources to be able to cultivate until that level. With your inferior level 1 soul aptitude and assuming that there are no accidents, there's virtually no hope for you to promote to a level 1 warlock by cultivating the warlock inheritance of the Black Cottage. Robot Bonnie answered. Yang Feng creased his brows and tapped his index finger on the desk, contemplating. The Warlock College Entalia? The Fernandro Principality's backer, the Fernandro family, was on friendly terms with the Warlock College Entalia. Now that he greatly offended the Fernandro family, he might have to face some challenges if he wanted to join the Warlock College Entalia. Robot Bonnie said, "Master, Bonnie has a treasure from a taboo stone. That treasure will be of great help on your warlock path." Yang Feng asked curiously, "Taboo stone?" Robot Bonnie explained, "Taboo stones are seal stones created by alchemists of the Second Warlock Dynasty. Reportedly, they are able to seal any being. The Second Warlock Dynasty used a great number of powerful life forms like humans, fiends, devils, gods, giants, dragons, and various other powerful life forms from other planes to carry out a variety of taboo research and produced numerous terrifying freaks as well as formidable secret treasures. Before the Second Warlock Dynasty was annihilated, it sealed many freaks and secret treasures within taboo stones. The Second Warlock Dynasty? Even though Yang Feng obtained the memories of some apprentice warlocks, but he had yet to grasp the knowledge therein. Thus, he was completely in the dark with regards to the history of the Tyrannid subcontinent and the like. Bonnie continued, "From the rise of warlocks until now, there has been a total of 8 warlock dynasties. Whenever a warlock dynasty flourishes, the humans' forces of this world would conquer numerous planes. Formidable warlocks can even subjugate fiends and enslave gods. They would capture fiends and gods from other planes and use them as top alchemical materials. The Tyrannid subcontinent is merely an ancillary subcontinent of the continent. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, the strongest people are merely at the Great Warlock rank. In the continent, however, there are first-rate powerhouses above the Great Warlock rank. According to Bonnie's memories, the Tyrannid subcontinent's strongest 6 warlock groups, the Warlock College in Talia, White Elephant Ivory, Eyes of Justice, Rose Garden, Savage Claws, and Black Dragon Tower, are secretly backed by formidable forces of the continent. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with graveness, and the excitement he felt from capturing the Black City faded by a lot. "So, the world is much larger than I expected," he said. "Take me to where the treasure from the taboo stone is." "Yes, Master." Led by Robot Bonnie, Yang Feng arrived at the underground floor of the Warlock Tower. A wide plaza was in the underground floor of the Warlock Tower, and in the middle of the plaza was a huge blood pool. The edges of the blood pool were engraved with numerous runes brimming with a mysterious power. Around the blood pool, there were nodes inlaid with blood-colored crystals, as well as magic stones brimming with a mysterious power. In the middle of the blood pool was a transparent crystal basin, and in the transparent crystal basin laid a huge egg engraved with various profound and mysterious runes. The blood pool churned and roiled, and strands of bloody gas rose from it, and then merged with the huge egg. The huge egg occasionally issued heartbeats like a huge heart. Every time a heartbeat sounded, the plaza would surge with a small fluctuation of energy. Robot Bonnie introduced, "This is the treasure that Bonnie got from the taboo stone." He was going to turn the life form inside the egg into his contracted beast. In order to hatch the life inside the egg and have it brim with vitality, he arranged this altar and performed a blood sacrifice ritual by killing 1,376 virgins. The sacrifice ritual has practically been completed, and all that remains is to contract the life form inside the egg. In 5 days, the life form inside the egg will hatch and be born. However, only official level 1 warlocks can tame contracted beasts. "Master, as you don't have any foundation as a warlock, you can't sign a soul contract with the life form inside the egg through normal means." Chapter 21, Necklaces and Head Rings. Chapter 21, Necklaces and Head Rings. Translator, Zayamoj. Within Bonnie's memories, apart from using the power of a warlock to sign a soul contract with the life form inside the egg, there is still another way. "Master, you have to stay here with the egg for 20 days, for no less than 3 hours per day, and you have to extract 50 milliliters of blood from your body and irrigate the egg with it every day in order to establish a connection. Coupled with the power of the altar, it can make the life form inside the egg generate a feeling of affection towards you. In the future, when you have the power of an official level 1 warlock, you can easily sign a soul contract with it and have it become your contacted beast." After listening to Robot Bonnie's explanation, Yang Feng couldn't help but to inhale a mouthful of cold air. In order to hatch an egg, he killed 1,376 virgins. What a vicious fellow. It's not unusual for warlocks to perform experiments on living people. Many taboo experiments require humans to be experimented on in order to get the most accurate and safe data. In the eyes of the majority of warlocks, ordinary people are no different from ants. In the Second Warlock Dynasty, where taboo experiments were at their craziest, there are even records of hundreds of millions of humans dying from various crazy taboo experiments. Hellions, who are a great enemy of humanity, are a product of a taboo experiment of the Second Warlock Dynasty. The Second Warlock Dynasty was destroyed at the hands of Hellions and humans. But after numerous bitter lessons, the Tyrannid subcontinent has now banned large-scale killings of ordinary people for experiments. Of the 1,376 virgins Bonnie used, more than 1,000 of them were slaves bought from all over, and the rest were gifts offered to him by various people. His use of slaves and gifts to carry out the experiment didn't violate the law drafted by warlocks. At most, he would be condemned morally. As such, he still was extremely secretive and put the altar underground. He was also the only person that could enter this place inside the Warlock Tower. Robot Bonnie spoke. Yang Feng creased his eyebrows. He had a vague feeling that he arrived at some crazy world. He said in a low voice, "If I had lost to Bonnie, I would have been captured by him and become a subject for human experiments." Robot Bonnie responded, "Yes, a contracted beast. Yang Feng looked at the strange egg in the middle of the altar with bloody gas coming in and out of it, and his gaze flickered. He got caught up in his thoughts. After killing Bonnie and capturing the Black City, he was bound to face a counterattack from the Fernandro Principality. This was the most dangerous period of time. The best course of action for him would be to have his true body hide in an undisclosed location and wait for the commotion to pass. He already produced a large number of level 6 and level 7 battle robots. At any time, he was ready to abandon everything, leave the Fernandro Principality, and have a fresh start. Once he chose to hatch the strange egg from the taboo stone, he might have to face great peril. The Fernandro Principality was established over 300 years ago, so who knew how deep their roots went? Anyway, the warlocks who tried to challenge the Fernandro Principality in the past 300 years had died, and even an official level 2 warlock had fallen. Yang Feng hesitated, saying, "Can it be removed from the altar, or its incubation period be delayed? Now that the egg entered the final stage of incubation, it will suffer serious damage, and its evolution potential will decline once it leaves the altar." According to Bonnie's memories, only great warlock rank powerhouses and above, who have extensive knowledge, might be able to remove the egg from the altar or delay its incubation period without any negative ramifications. If the egg is removed now, it'll lose its value as a contracted beast. However, it can still be studied as a rare material of the Second Warlock Dynasty's taboo experiments. The Second Warlock Dynasty inheritances have been passed for close to 1 million years, and many of the various items sealed inside taboo stones were already exceedingly rare. Bonnie was extremely lucky to be able to obtain a taboo stone. Even if the egg from the taboo stone was dead, it would still have amazing research value in the current times. He contemplated for a while, and then finally made a decision, saying, "All right, my true body will come here as soon as possible. Make sure that the ritual carries on." Taboo stones were extremely rare in the Tyrannid subcontinent. Once discovered, they would either be used by someone or pocketed by the 6 major forces. The egg from the taboo stone may be the last one in the Tyrannid subcontinent that could become a contracted beast. Naturally, Yang Feng didn't want to miss this chance. Robot Bonnie replied respectfully, "Yes, Master." He gave the strange egg on the altar a profound look, then turned around and left the Warlock Tower. The Black City, within the City Master's mansion. Standing orderly, apprentice warlocks dressed in gray robes looked at Yang Feng sitting on a throne. The eyes of many apprentice warlocks flashed with enmity. FRUUBAVL.cm. Next to the apprentice warlocks stood 400 fully armed bladed robots, who were ready to kill them so long as they did anything suspicious. This headring can detect your thoughts, while this necklace is equipped with an explosive. Once you harbor any harmful thoughts towards me, this necklace will blow your head off. Now form into lines and put the necklaces and head rings on. Otherwise, drop dead. Yang Feng clapped his hands, and bladed robots carrying basins with black necklaces and silver head rings walked out from both sides. Visit freewebnov.com for the best novel reading experience. When the apprentice warlocks heard that, their faces paled, and they exchanged looks with each other. They hesitated. Yang Feng continued callously, "I give you 10 seconds to consider it. Those who aren't lined up within 10 seconds will die. 10. Hearing the countdown to death, the faces of the apprentice warlocks paled some more, and they quickly formed into lines. He swept the hall with a look and said coldly, 0. Kill those not lined up. 200 bladed robots rushed towards the 10 hesitant apprentice warlocks, brandished their blades wildly, and easily sliced them into pieces. The remaining apprentice warlocks looked pale, their bodies trembled, and their eyes flashed with boundless fear. Begin! Sitting on the throne, propping his head up with a hand, Yang Feng looked grimly at the remaining apprentice warlocks. Under his command, the apprentice warlocks of the Black Cottage stepped forward and carefully put on the black necklaces and the silver head rings. Bang! After an apprentice warlock put on a black necklace and a silver head ring, the silver head ring lit up and the black necklace exploded, blowing off the head of the apprentice warlock. Seeing this, the scared apprentice warlocks trembled, and their eyes flashed with fear. Meeting Yang Feng's gaze was like looking at a terrifying demon king. Yang Feng sneered. You want to pretend to surrender, and then find a chance to assassinate me? How amusing. You can't conceal your thoughts from the secret treasure silver head ring. Continue. Chapter 22 Alan. Chapter 22 Alan. Translator. Zayamoj. The apprentice warlocks of the Black Cottage put on the black necklaces and silver head rings with fear and trepidation. Only the heads of 3 people were blown off, the rest were lucky to pass the test. Yang Feng uttered in astonishment. How surprising! I thought that half of you would have your heads blown off. I didn't expect that your loyalty towards Black Cottage was so shallow. FRioEbnovel.com. The eyes of many apprentice warlocks flashed with shame. Sir Steel Lord Yang Yi. Although we are apprentice warlocks of the Black Cottage, but apart from a few disciples treasured by the master of the Black Cottage, the rest of us had to pay a price in order to obtain knowledge from the Black Cottage. A lot of gold coins and magic stones had to be spent for each piece of knowledge. Moreover, every year, we have to run errands for the Black Cottage and struggle to earn magic stones and gold coins to then exchange for warlock knowledge. Our relationship with the Black Cottage is only based on benefits. Naturally, there isn't much loyalty involved. A level 2 apprentice warlock with short golden hair, average build, and ordinary appearance stepped out from amid the group of apprentice warlocks, knelt on the floor, and explained to Yang Feng. The level 2 apprentice warlock prostrated himself on the floor and said respectfully, We have fulfilled our duty towards the Black Cottage. Now that the Black Cottage got defeated, we only want to live. Please be magnanimous and grant us a way to live. We are willing to serve you. When the other apprentice warlocks saw this, although they secretly cursed him for being shameless, they still followed his example and prostrated themselves on the floor, pleading, Please grant us a way to live. We are willing to serve you. Yang Feng smiled slightly and asked, Interesting. What's your name? Alan looked up at Yang Feng with eyes flickering with flames of ambition and answered respectfully, Sir Steel Lord Yang Yi, my name is Alan. Yang Feng's eyes flashed with a scorching radiance, and he said unhurriedly, Go to the Warlock College Antalya as my representative. Tell them that I will destroy the Fernando family and dominate the entire Fernando Principality within a month. At the same time, I am willing to succeed the rights and duties of the Fernando Principality. Although the Fernando Principality couldn't compare to an empire, but it was also very rich in resources. It was especially rich in mineral resources. Once he took hold of it, his power would quickly expand. Over time, it was entirely possible to contend against the Warlock College Antalya and the other major warlock groups. What Yang Feng currently needed the most was land, resources, and time. Therefore, temporarily attaching himself to the Warlock College Antalya wasn't that bad. Additionally, in order for him to tread the warlock path, he also needed the support from the Warlock College Antalya. Alan spoke concernedly. Sir, the Fernando family has a good relationship with the Warlock College Antalya. The first patriarch of the Fernando family was a student of the Warlock College Antalya. Additionally, the consecutive generations of the Fernando family would send their most talented geniuses to join the Warlock College Antalya to study, and many teachers of the Warlock College Antalya were taken care by the Fernando family during times of poverty. So the relationship between both parties is extremely close. You'll only anger the Warlock College Antalya. Yang Feng responded coldly. Tell them that if they don't agree, then I'll choose to join the Savage Claw and act as a sword to slash at them. Alan sighed in admiration. Join the Savage Claw, that's an excellent idea. Sir Steel Lord Yang Yi is brilliant. There was a feud between the Savage Claw and the Warlock College Antalya, and they had been at each other's throats for more than 1,000 years. Both had blood belonging to countless powerhouses of the other party on their hands. Warlock College Antalya was slightly inferior to Savage Claw in terms of power. If a powerful warlock capable of capturing a warlock tower joined the Savage Claw, the pressure over the Warlock College Antalya would only increase. After flattering, Alan continued with concern. However, the Fernando Principality is a member state of the Southern States Coalition. The foundation of the Warlock College Antalya lies in the Southern States Coalition, so they won't easily relinquish the Fernando Principality. Although Alan wasn't strong, he was only at the level 2 apprentice warlock rank, but he had helped the Black Cottage deal with all kinds of secular affairs, and had a good understanding regarding matters of the world. Yang Feng uttered faintly, "If that won't do, then have the Fernandro Principality cede the Golden Sand City and Hardwood City. In return, I'll send my sole blood-related successor to the Warlock College Antalya to practice cultivation and tread the warlock path. This successor is the young master whom you are to serve from now on. You must serve him as you serve me. If he dies, you will follow him into death. Therefore, you must protect him with your own lives. Understood?" Full W current novels on fruibnov.com. "Yes, Sir Steel Lord." The hearts of the apprentice warlocks present tightened, and they replied respectfully. Yang Feng swept Alan with a look and said faintly, "Alan, I never mistreat competent subordinates. If you accomplish this task, then when you return, the others will become your subordinates. Additionally, there's a chance that I'll help you and let you become an official level 1 warlock." "Yes, I will accomplish this task, Sir Steel Lord." Alan's eyes lit up with excitement, and he responded with a trembling voice. The other apprentice warlocks of the Black Cottage looked at Alan with jealousy and envy in their eyes. The gap between an apprentice warlock and an official warlock was like a bottomless chasm. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, no matter where an official level 1 warlock went, they would receive enthusiastic offers of recruitment. So long as they joined a state, they could obtain the status of an aristocrat, which would be recognized in any other state. It was very difficult to become an official level 1 warlock. In the Black Cottage, only Bonnie was an official level 1 warlock, yet there were over 100 apprentice warlocks. Once Alan became an official level 1 warlock, his status would change dramatically. The other apprentice warlocks were naturally quite envious of him. In their pursuit of strength, many warlocks made deals with formidable beings, such as devils and fiends, from other planes. In order to get strength, Bonnie even transplanted a fiend bloodline. If these apprentice warlocks had the power to make deals with fiends and devils, they would certainly do it in order to be able to promote to level 1 warlocks and gain strength and a long lifespan. Just handling a matter for Yang Feng could get you a chance to promote to an official level 1 warlock. This left the other apprentice warlocks full of envy and jealousy towards Alan. Chapter 23, Strange Development. Chapter 23, Strange Development. Translator, Zayamoj. At nightfall, the Black City was under curfew. There were squads of level 4 bladed robots patrolling in the streets. No light was allowed to be ignited in the entire city, so darkness overtook the land, looking like a city of deathly stillness. Only the red electronic eyes of the bladed robots could be seen shuttling through the darkness, looking extremely terrifying. The earth shook slightly as the sound of marching rang. 200 level 6 bladed robots, 50 level 7 shielded robots, 100 level 6 gunner robots, and 30 level 7 artillery robots formed a large squad and trod the streets of the Black City. A silver vehicle slowly traveled amid the large squad. An owl soundlessly flew out from a cottage, and its eyes flashed with a glint unique to intelligent life forms. The owl had just flown out of the cottage, when a red light flashed in a battery. A pair of electronic eyes locked on the owl, and a 12.5mm heavy machine gun extended from within the battery. Accompanied by the sound of fabric being torn, red lights flickered. The owl in midair was torn to pieces, and numerous pieces of flesh scattered and fell to the ground. A squad with 100 bladed robots rushed over from afar and quickly arrived before the cottage. The leading bladed robot slashed at the door of the cottage and sliced the door into pieces, and then led the crowd to charge inside. A small candle was lit behind the door, and dim light illuminated the interior of the room, making the things inside faintly discernible. Within the room stood a handsome man and a beautiful woman. When they saw the bladed robots break in, their faces paled. The young man asked timidly, "What are you doing, sirs? Why did you break into our home?" The bladed robots raised their alloy battle blades. Then they blurred into motion and pounced at the young man and woman. This content is taken from fgariwebnavio.com. Greece. The seemingly ordinary woman clenched her teeth, pointed at the leading bladed robot, and cast a level 0 spell. The bladed robot slipped and tumbled to the floor. Unaffected, the bladed robots in the rear stepped over the bladed robot that had fallen on the floor and continued with their attack. The young man looked at the expressionless bladed robots and couldn't help but shout, "We surrender! We are spies as well as emissaries dispatched by the White Elephant Ivory. Please stop. I wish to see Sir Steel Lord Yang Yi." FRUUBnovel.com. In a flash, 6 alloy battle blades stopped just 1 centimeter from the young man. 10 alloy battle blades stopped at the neck of the beautiful woman, scaring her stiff. During the fight earlier that day, the both of them witnessed the ruthlessness of the bladed robots. No matter how the thugs who had seized the chance to pillage pleaded, the bladed robots ruthlessly killed them one by one. They didn't resemble humans at all. A bladed robot spoke with a mechanical and synthesized voice, emotionless. "Come with me. Do anything suspicious and you're dead." The 2 spies of the White Elephant Ivory relaxed a bit. Under the escort of the squad of bladed robots, they obediently headed towards the prison. Pong! 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 Following a string of gunshots, a mouse hiding in a corner was pulverized together with the nearby house. After the mouse hiding in the dark corner was disposed of, the electronic eyes of a 5-meter-tall level 6-gunner robot equipped with 4 6-barrel Vulcan cannons and 2 37mm anti-aircraft cannons flashed with red light, and it lowered its 6-barrel Vulcan cannons. The means of warlocks were varied and strange. Some warlocks could easily control a variety of animals to act as their eyes and ears to carry out investigations. Yang Feng knew too little about those means. The only thing he could do was to avoid everyone, to wipe out any animal or human that approached his true body. Gunshots rang along the way Yang Feng passed through. Squads of level 4-gunner robots and level 4 bladed robots patrolled and wiped out mice, cockroaches, and other animals active in the area. The vehicle stopped in front of the Warlock Tower. 8-meter-tall shielded robots with shields glimmered with light, and a huge energy shield shrouded the entire area. Yang Feng's true body alighted the silver vehicle and strode into the Warlock Tower. Shortly after, an elite squad formed from level 6 battle robots guarded the Warlock Tower. Accompanied by Robot Bonnie, Yang Feng arrived at the altar at the bottom of the Warlock Tower. He gave the egg atop the altar a profound look and strode over. He took out a syringe, extracted his blood, and poured it on the egg. The egg flashed with silk-like magical patterns and directly absorbed his blood, and then a timid spirit fluctuation came from the egg and very carefully made contact with Yang Feng. He made himself comfortable on the floor next to the huge egg. He gently stroked the egg while Robot Bonnie taught him the secret method that allowed him to empty his mind, and then transmit his spirit fluctuations. After his spirit fluctuations and the spirit fluctuations of the being inside the egg intertwined, a joyous and wonderful feeling awakened inside the dark and lonely egg and firmly intertwined with his spirit. Yang Feng, who hadn't practiced cultivation until now, was overwhelmed, and he fainted. "Shit, what the fuck? I still haven't finished the arrangements." This thought welled up inside his mind before he lost consciousness. The eyes of the deathly still Robot Bonnie flashed with doubt characteristic of humans, and he spoke in a low voice. "What's going on?" According to the analysis of Bonnie's memories, this shouldn't have happened. It seems that this egg from a taboo stone is unusual. 3790 SIXS super computing chip suddenly took control over Robot Bonnie. 3796 approached Yang Feng. Its right hand wiggled and turned into mechanical tentacles that covered his head. 3796 analyzed, saying, "Master isn't dead. However, the ritual must go on. Otherwise, Master might become an imbecile or a real waste. During this period, the protection of Master is of the highest priority." Mysterious fluctuations quickly spread towards Yang Feng's troops. The munitions factories began to work around the clock and crazily produce a variety of battle weapons. Apart from the necessary defenses, battle robots guarding other places were quickly transferred to the Black City to be on standby. Chapter 24, Fernandro Principality's Decision. Chapter 24, Fernandro Principality's Decision. Translator, Zayamoj. The capital of the Fernandro Principality, the Nerona city within the palace. A blue-haired and green-eyed, hook-nosed, and tall and sturdy as a bear man sat on the throne. His gaze brimmed with coldness and dignity as he overlooked the hall. This blue-haired and green-eyed man was the current Archduke Fernando. The current Archduke Fernando was one of the most outstanding archdukes in the history of the Fernando Principality. Under his leadership, the Fernando Principality was thriving. It was several times more flourishing than in the past. Under the watchful gaze of Archduke Fernando, the ministers were restless and frightened. Archduke Fernando had a very distinct policy about rewards and punishments. His rewards were very generous, but his punishments were similarly very generous and difficult to bear. Archduke Fernando spoke in a husky voice, stressing each syllable. "I want to know the origins of the Steel Lord Yang Yi." The ministers lowered their heads, not daring to face Archduke Fernando. Yang Feng emerged less than half a year ago. Prior to this, the ministers didn't pay the autumn leaf town that lied in a remote corner any attention. Who could have imagined that in less than 3 months' time, even the Black City would be captured? Archduke Fernando's gaze moved and fell on a middle-aged man with grizzled hair. The middle-aged man was Archer, the Minister of Defense of the Fernando Principality. Archer uttered slowly, "Your Majesty, according to our intelligence, Zhao Jiang of the Autumn Leaf Town suddenly occupied the Black Rock Town over 2 months ago, and he commanded the Mechanical Legion of the Steel Lord Yang Yi. Immediately after, the giant stone city dispatched troops on a punitive expedition against the rebel, yet the troops were defeated by the Mechanical Legion of the Steel Lord. Then, the Mechanical Legion raided the Black City and murdered its master, Bonnie. According to my conjectures, Zhao Jiang probably obtained a relic of the 6th Warlock Dynasty and got its Mechanical Legion." The 6th Warlock Dynasty? Is that Mechanical Legion a product of the 6th Warlock Dynasty? The Mechanical Legion of the 6th Warlock Dynasty could slay terrifying beings such as gods. If that really is the Mechanical Legion of the 6th Warlock Dynasty, how can we resist it? After hearing the name the 6th Warlock Dynasty, the complexions of the ministers turned extremely pale and they commented. Among the 8 Warlock dynasties, the 2nd Warlock Dynasty was a dynasty teeming with taboo research, and the 6th Warlock Dynasty was a dynasty teeming with secret treasure refinement. The 6th Warlock Dynasty was also known as the Secret Treasure Dynasty. Golems were formidable battle weapons developed by the Secret Treasure Dynasty. In its time, the Mechanical Legion of the 6th Warlock Dynasty conquered many planes and slayed countless gods and fiends. Golem Lord Akanthi, the highest masterpiece of the 6th Warlock Dynasty, was one of the strongest beings at the time. Later, due to unknown circumstances, Akanthi was enticed by the fiends to command 1/3 of the Mechanical Legion to rebel against the 6th Warlock Dynasty, which led to the destruction of the 6th Warlock Dynasty. After the destruction of the 6th Warlock Dynasty, Akanthi wandered about until it reached a powerful primary material plane, occupied it, and became its ruler. Now, the primary material plane was called the Core of Mechanics Plane. It was one of the strongest and most terrifying planes known to humans. Many fiends and gods traveled to the Core of Mechanics Plane in an attempt to kill the supposedly already very weak Akanthi. However, the formidable beings from other planes that went to that plane had become specimens hung in front of the mechanical gate. Over time, there were no formidable beings that would dare to venture to the Core of Mechanics Plane. The Mechanical Legion of the 6th Warlock Dynasty was ferocious and formidable. If a single fighter-class golem from the strongest Mechanical Legion of the 6th Warlock Dynasty were to venture to the Tyrannid subcontinent, it would be able to sweep across the entire subcontinent with impunity. Archer said solemnly, "No need to panic. Even if he acquired the Mechanical Legion of the 6th Warlock Dynasty, the Mechanical Legion already doesn't have much strength. According to our intelligence, the fighting strength of the golems is currently only at the knight rank. Besides, most golems are of the melee type. They should be defective products. Otherwise, it wouldn't be so easy for him to get a hold of them. We can easily wipe them out so long as we deploy the Bloodbat Knights." The Bloodbat Knights. If it's them, then they should be able to crush those golems. Read 8 chapters at fguyuyobinovel.com only. If there are only knight-rank golems, then there's nothing to worry about. They are antiques from hundreds of thousands of years ago. They should have much strength. The complexions of the ministers of the Fernandro Principality became slightly better as they consoled themselves. If they were to face the elite mechanical legion of the 6th Warlock dynasty, which was capable of slaying fiends and gods, they would be powerless to resist. However, against defective products, they were confident in their ability to withstand it. Agayuyobinovel.com. Archduke Fernandro spoke unhurriedly. The Eye of Demonic Snake and the Fong of White Bear agreed to ally with us in order to exterminate Yang Yi. I need the Council's authorization to mobilize 100,000 magic stones for military expenditure. Magic stones were energy crystals with mysterious power. The standard size of magic stones was approximately the size of the knuckle of an adult's index finger. Magic stone was a treasure used in alchemy, pharmacology, and a variety of other fields. Magic stones were a unit of measurement in the world of warlocks. The price of a magic stone was approximately 100 gold coins or 200,000 copper coins. 100,000 magic stones was equivalent to 10 million gold coins or 20 billion copper coins. Archduke Fernandro required the authorization of the council to mobilize such a large sum. Approved. Your Majesty, I will do my best to pass this motion in the council. The ministers seconded the motion. 1 day later, the Council of the Fernandro Principality convened secretly and quickly passed the motion to transfer the 100,000 magic stones. 3 days later, the Blood Dragon Mountains was a vast mountain range covered by boundless woods located 100 kilometers to the north of the capital of the Fernandro Principality. The Blood Dragon Mountains belonged entirely to the Fernandro family. Apart from those who received approval of the Fernandro family, anyone who entered the mountain range would be executed. The Blood Dragon Mountains were very rich in natural resources. Every year, the Fernandro family received great wealth from the mountain range. Deep in the Blood Dragon Mountains, in a valley surrounded by mountain peaks hundreds of meters tall, the valley was covered with caves of different sizes. Occasionally, huge bats would fly out of the caves. The huge bats were dyed red as if covered in blood, and had 10-meter-long wingspans and sharp fangs. Chapter 25 Blood Bat Knights. Chapter 25 Blood Bat Knights. Translator: Zayamoj. Soldiers with bare upper bodies, strange patterns painted on their bodies, and pairs in hand rode the huge bats. The soldiers emitted formidable life fluctuations. The soldiers riding the huge bats were the strongest military force of the Fernandro Principality, the Blood Bat Knights. The Blood Bat Knights were a 5,000-strong aerial troop. Each Blood Bat Knight was at least a Knight rank expert, and there were even many Great Knight and Earth Knight rank experts who were rarely seen in the world. The commander of the Blood Bat Knights for now was even a Sky Knight. The Blood Bat Knights were a formidable aerial troop that even managed to besiege and kill lone official level 1 warlocks many times. They were one of the pillars of support of the Fernandro Principality. Inside the valley, on a huge rock sat cross-legged a 2-meter-tall, brawny man with stretched taut muscles, countless blade scars on his body, and cascading golden hair. A skylark flew towards the brawny, blonde man. Fruyubavel.cm. When the skylark approached, the brawny, blonde man opened his eyes and extended his hand, allowing the skylark to land on his hand. The skylark twittered, "For now, His Majesty Archduke has an order. He orders the Blood Bat Knights to prepare for battle immediately. Your target is the Steel Lord Yang Yi who occupied the Black City. The Eye of Demonic Snake and the Fong of White Bear will join you in the attack." Fernau's eyes flashed with a bloodthirsty radiance, and he licked his lips like a beast. "Another battle! My blood is starting to boil." Before long, an army formed of the huge blood bats flew out of the valley, nearly obscuring the sky. The Black City, the Warlock Tower. The 3rd floor of the Warlock Tower was remodeled into a command center covered with screens, which flashed brightly and displayed different images. While possessing Robot Bonnie, 3796 stood silently as if a sculpture in the control center. Its eyes flickered with numerous streams of data. The screens displayed images of elite forces of the Fernandro Principality gathering from all over and marching towards the Black City in a flood of people. 3796's eyes flashed with red light as it analyzed. "The enemy's forces have assembled. Should we attack? No. The current priority is to defend Master. The troops cannot be divided. If Yang Feng was the one in command, he would definitely dispatch the Mechanical Legion to exploit the period the forces of the Fernandro Principality took to assemble and destroy them one by one. He would even take the initiative to attack the capital of the Fernandro Principality. He would stall for time and consume the other party's forces. One of the biggest advantages of his Mechanical Legion was that unless the wreckage of the Mechanical Legion was taken away from the battlefield, he could easily smelt the remains and produce new robots. In short, so long as there was enough energy, he could definitely wipe out the predominantly flesh and blood army of the Fernandro Principality. However, even with his supercomputing power, 3796 could only choose to entrench the entire Mechanical Legion at the Black City due to Yang Feng being unconscious. Time slowly went by and it was 10 days later. On the altar in the basement of the Warlock Tower, Yang Feng suddenly shivered and opened his eyes with difficulty. There were IVs, intravenous infusion, inserted into his veins. Saline and glucose solutions as well as the most basic elixirs refined into the healing water elixir dripped through the IVs. Yang Feng had yet to begin practice cultivation and tread the warlock path, so his body still had the properties of an earthling waste. He would have already died were it not for the various elixirs intravenously administered on a daily basis. So dangerous! The things of warlocks are so weird. Without a sturdy body, you truly can't afford to play with them. I almost didn't wake up. Yang Feng shook his muddled head and thought with lingering fear. Master, it's me, 3796. Welcome back. You should take a good rest. However, there's an emergency. Please decide whether we fight or flee. After the possessed robot Bonnie finished speaking, its eyes emitted light rays, and huge screens formed midair. The images of a huge army, which extended for dozens of kilometers, advancing towards the Black City were displayed on the huge screens. Above the huge army, there was a scalp-numbing flock of blood-colored giant bats. While possessing Robot Bonnie, 3796 said serenely, Fernandro Principality's forces are composed of 5,000 cavalrymen, 200 heavy cavalrymen, 40,000 infantrymen, 120,000 auxiliary troops, and 5,000 blood bat knights. The Eye of Demonic Snake deployed 1 level 2 warlock, 5 level 1 warlocks, and 60 apprentice warlocks. Fong of White Bear deployed 1 level 2 warlock, 3 level 1 warlocks, and 50 apprentice warlocks. Fernandro family deployed 1 level 2 warlock, 10 level 1 warlocks, and 200 apprentice warlocks. There are still 30 minutes left before they reach the Black City. Yang Feng couldn't help but say, 3796. Why have you allowed them to gather their forces? With the mobility of the Mechanical Legion, it's possible to get rid of them before their forces assemble. Counterattacking and sending the Mechanical Legion to threaten their capital would also do. Fully charged, the level 4-bladed robots of the Mechanical Legion were capable of combat within a 200-kilometer radius. However, if they carried replaceable high-energy batteries, they could continuously expand their radius of combat. With the mobility of the level 4-bladed robots, they could have gotten rid of the human troops before they assembled. If it was up to Yang Feng, he would have used the Mechanical Legion to easily handle the army whose mobility, except for the warlocks, was at the level of medieval times. 3796 said, My first priority is to protect you. You haven't issued any explicit orders, so after you lost your consciousness, I could only gather all our forces to protect you. Please give an order. Do we fight or do we flee? Of course we fight. Go get rid of them. A cold glint flashed past his eyes, and he quickly ascertained the positions of the Mechanical Legion and issued a string of orders. Forming a mechanical flood, the Mechanical Legion that had pulled back into the Black City immediately marched out of the city and went to intercept the Fernandro Principality's army. A huge magic carpet 100 meters in diameter flew above the army of the Fernandro Principality. Atop the magic carpet stood the 3 level 2 warlocks. Update.dfrmfreewebnovel.com. Chapter 26, Metal Storm. Chapter 26, Metal Storm. The Ost up-to-date novels are published on freewebnovel.com. Translator, Zayamoj. It's here. Yang Ye's Golem Legion is here. a black-robed man with snake-like vertical eyes, two black snakes with a horn on their head coiling on him, and a 2-meter-long mace in hand spoke solemnly. The black-robed man with snake-like vertical eyes was Arbane, a level 2 warlock of the Eye of Demonic Snake. A handsome blonde and blue-eyed middle-aged man dressed in a white robe and a black book in hand said gravely, "Bloodbat Knights attack! Exterminate those golems!" This middle-aged man was Kenny, a level 2 warlock of the Fernandro family. He was the most powerful of the 3 level 2 warlocks as well as the commander-in-chief of this army. The Bloodbat Knights riding the huge bloodbats immediately dropped down. Great strength, precision shooting, acceleration. The apprentice warlocks on the ground frantically cast level 0 spells, and large numbers of status spells boosted the Bloodbat Knight soldiers. After the Bloodbat Knight soldiers and their pets were received the status boosts, their battle prowess immediately rose by a notch, and they flew high into the sky again. The Bloodbat Knights quickly reached the space above the Mechanical Legion and threw down palm-sized bombs. Boom! 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 Along with loud noise, the palm-sized bombs shot to the ground and issued frightening explosions. The frightening explosions blew level, for bladed robots apart, scattering countless parts on the ground. When Yang Feng saw the level, for bladed robots being blown apart, his eyes flashed with dignity. Life-form bombers! Amazing! Despite the bombardment of the Bloodbat Knights, the level 4 bladed robots were as unfazed as ever. Silent and expressionless, they rushed towards the army of the Fernandro Principality. The eyes of Jamt, a man dressed in white bear fur with a medium build, the level 2 warlock from the Fong of White Bear flashed with graveness and he uttered slowly. The Mechanical Legion sure is one of the most frightening trump cards of the 6th Warlock dynasty. Even though these golems are just some defective products at the knight rank, but they're still scary once there's a large number of them. An ordinary human army would have already collapsed under the bombardment of the Bloodbat Knights. And even if it didn't collapse, the humans would still scatter and look for cover. The bladed robots, however, were as fearless as ever, and rushed towards the army of the Fernandro Principality. They were a terrifying force. Under the siege of more than 10,000 level 4 bladed robots, even level 2 warlocks could only cut a sorry figure and flee. In the end, they're just some defective products. Kenny sneered. The black book in his hand opened on a page, and dozens of pitch-black seeds flew out of the black page and entered the earth in a flash. Shortly after, the dozens of pitch-black seeds frantically grew into dozens of pitch-black rottans dozens of meters long. Like dozens of huge whips, the dozens of pitch-black rottans swung madly at the level 4 bladed robots and flung them away. The dozens of long pitch-black rottans separated a large number of level 4 bladed robots, and then a squad of heavy cavalrymen launched a charge and knocked the level 4 bladed robots away. 1,000 advanced warriors resolutely swung the sledgehammers in their hands at the level 4 bladed robots and smashed them. After learning that Yang Feng employed a mechanical legion, the Fernandro Principality immediately switched the weapons of their troops, replacing them with heavy weapons like sledgehammers. Thus, after being boosted by great strength, acceleration, and other level 0 auxiliary spells, the common troops also had the strength to threaten the ordinary level 4 bladed robots. The apprentice warlocks stood still in the center of the army, protected by the army. They didn't release any offensive level 0 spells. Rather, they were ready to cast a variety of level 0 auxiliary spells at a moment's notice to boost the human forces. In turn, official level 1 warlocks were surrounded and guarded by the apprentice warlocks. They calmly observed the happenings, as they preserved their spirit force and physical strength. They would only act at the most crucial moments. Whenever the powerful level 2 warlock Kenny acted, the huge level 4 mechanical legion would be forcibly blocked for a while. The Bloodbat Knights kept throwing bombs at the level 4 bladed robots, blowing them to pieces. Hundreds and thousands of bladed robots were blown apart and turned into countless parts and fragments amid the explosions. Yang Feng looked at the level 4 bladed robots being blasted apart amid the explosions and ordered coldly, "Gunner robots, attack!" Suddenly, 10,000 level 4 gunner robots appeared out of hiding, pointed the 12.5mm heavy machine guns at the Bloodbat Knights in midair, and fired madly. along with the ear-piercing sounds of cloth being torn and countless sparks. A metal barrage shrouded the sky in the blink of an eye. Blood flowers bloomed in the sky as one Bloodbat Knight's soldier after the other was punched full of holes by the terrifying heavy machine gun bullets and dropped to the ground. The huge bloodbats also kept dropping from the sky. "Rise! Rise!" Fernow's face fell, and he instantly erupted with a formidable life force field that covered his entire body. Simultaneously, he issued loud bellows and urged the huge bloodbat underneath him to rise higher. A dozen heavy machine gun bullets shot at Fernow. Immediately after, the formidable life force field twisted and ricocheted the bullets. For every 100,000 knight rank powerhouses, only one Sky Knight would appear. Once you promoted to a Sky Knight, you could erupt with a formidable life force field to defend yourself for a short time. The defensive strength of this life force field was comparable to a level 1 defensive spell. It was the most important reason why Sky Knights could contend against level 1 warlocks. In order to deal as much damage as possible to the level 4 bladed robots, the Bloodbat Knights were flying fairly low, which made them good targets. Under the crazy barrage of the 10,000 gunner robots, more than 1,000 Bloodbat Knight soldiers were torn to shreds. The remaining Bloodbat Knight soldiers desperately rose higher into the sky. "Fuck! Damned bastard!" Kenny's heart dripped blood when he saw the more than 1,000 Bloodbat Knight soldiers being killed, and he gnashed his teeth and spat out curses. The Bloodbat Knight soldiers were death soldiers raised by the Fernandro family, loyal and devoted to the family. Every Bloodbat Knight soldier consumed their weight in gold in terms of resources. Due to the loss of over 1,000 soldiers, the strength of the Bloodbat Knights was damaged. Chapter 27 Divination. Chapter 27 Divination. Translator, Zayamoj. After repelling the Bloodbat Knight soldiers out of their shooting range, the level 4 gunner robots immediately adjusted their aim and shot frenziedly at the 3 level 2 warlocks sitting on the magic carpet. Sparks flashed and a rain of bullets swept towards the 3 level 2 warlocks. Warping Force Field. Arbane pointed and cast a level 1 defensive spell. A warping force field suddenly appeared in front of the magic carpet. When the heavy machine gun bullets hit the warping force field, they twisted and bounced back. But under the endless hail of bullets, the warping force field could only last for 5 seconds before it collapsed, forcing Arbane to release the warping force field again. Arbane creased his eyebrows tightly and said solemnly, "Let's go down. If this continues, my spirit force will soon be depleted." New novel chapters are published on fgariwebnovel.com. Level 2 warlocks could easily conjure level 1 spells. However, the spirit force of level 2 warlocks wasn't endless. When Bonnie was within the warlock tower, he could exhibit terrifying strength and repel tens of thousands of bladed robots with its support. Arbane could not compare to Bonnie within the warlock tower in terms of strength. If the consumption continued as is, he would soon be left at death's door. Kenny looked down gloomily. After loosing the aerial bombardment of the Bloodbat Knights, the densely packed level 4 bladed robots immediately swarmed the Black Rottans and sliced them to pieces. Although the apprentice warlocks released a variety of level 0 spells to weaken the fighting prowess of the bladed robots. However, the level 4 bladed robots were too numerous, and the Black Rottans were still sliced to pieces. Before long, the bladed robots would force their way into the midst of the Fernandro Principality's army. By then, even with the help of the level 1 warlocks, the army of the Fernandro Principality wouldn't stand a chance against the level 4 bladed robots. The bladed robots would fight to the last unit so long as they didn't receive the order to retreat. The human warriors, on the other hand, would have their army collapse once the casualties surpassed 10,000 people. Jamp frowned and spoke solemnly. "Let's retreat and ask Warlock College Antalya for help. Steel Lord Yang Yi might not be a big deal himself, but his mechanical legion is truly formidable." Level 2 warlocks were far stronger than level 1 warlocks, and the most troublesome thing about them was that they would choose to flee whenever things looked bad. In theory, a 10,000-strong ordinary army had the strength to kill a level 2 warlock. However, a level 2 warlock wouldn't stand in place and fight the mortal army head-on. A level 2 warlock could choose decapitation strike, guerrilla warfare, and poison. In any case, there were ways to chip away at an ordinary army. Seeing that their situation was discouraging, Jampt wanted to retreat. He was unwilling to put his life at risk for tens of thousands of magic stones. Kenny uttered with a gloomy complexion. Jampt, I know you have a level 1 divination scroll. Sell it to me. Divination was among the most difficult branches of the warlock path to tread on, among which astrologer and fate warlocks were the most typical representatives. The formidable astrologer and fate warlocks had a very hard time practicing cultivation. They required exceedingly outstanding talent, great luck, countless resources, and hard work to succeed in their cultivation. Apart from these two formidable warlock paths, the divination branch still had many other warlock paths. However, the accomplishments of warlocks treading those warlock paths weren't too great, so very few people trod them. As such, divination scrolls were extremely rare and precious. Jampt grinned, saying, I want your level 2 secret treasure green revolving ring. Arbene's eyelids jumped up, and he stared at the green bracelet on Kenny's right wrist. Secret treasures were exceedingly powerful tools refined by alchemists from various precious materials. Secret treasures were exceedingly precious, and defensive secret treasures were even more so precious. The level 2 secret treasure green revolving ring was Kenny's best defensive secret treasure, as well as one of the 5 best defensive secret treasures of the Fernandro family. Under normal circumstances, exchanging a level 1 divination scroll for a level 1 defensive secret treasure was already very fortunate. As such, Jampt using the level 1 divination scroll to exchange for the green revolving ring was no different from profiteering. Kenny responded coldly, a gloomy look on his face. A level 1 divination scroll can't divine the position of a level 2 warlock. If Yang Yi is a level 2 warlock, or knows spells geared against divination, then the divination scroll will be useless. Divination was very strange, and ordinary people couldn't resist it. Once divination was cast, unless they were in a place enveloped by an extraordinary force, ordinary people would have nowhere to hide. Although ordinary people couldn't resist divination, but warlocks had various methods and secret treasures to resist divination. Of course, you had to be an official warlock with a formidable inheritance to have the means to resist divination. When used on a level 2 warlock, level 1 divination wouldn't have any effect. Jampt said with a grin, Kenny, keep your cool. If you don't want to do the exchange, then forget about it. Let's just retreat. If we don't retreat, your black rattans will only be disposed of. After his gaze underwent a number of changes, Kenny finally gnashed his teeth, took out the green revolting ring from his right wrist, and tossed it towards Jampt. Okay, let's do the exchange. Jampt showed a pleased smile when he caught the bracelet. He took out a golden scroll and threw it to Kenny. After taking the golden scroll, Kenny poured a tremendous amount of spirit force into it. The golden scroll glimmered with golden radiance that formed an arrowhead and pointed at the Warlock Tower of the Black City. Inside the Warlock Tower, Yang Feng looked at the golden arrowhead on the screen and his heart sank slightly. What spell is that? Robot Bonnie replied. It's divination, Master. You've been targeted by divination. Before the effect of divination passes, your position will be known to the caster. Currently, we don't have any countermeasures. Only if you produce a level 4 fortified stronghold will you be able to manufacture machinery to cut off divination. Chapter 28, Blasting Apart Level 2 Warlocks. Chapter 28, Blasting Apart Level 2 Warlocks. Translator, Zayamoj. Kenny's eyes flashed with excitement and he said gravely, The divination succeeded. This means that he's at most just a level 1 warlock who luckily obtained the defective products of the 6th Warlock Dynasty's Mechanical Legion. Please help me suppress his Warlock Tower. I'll go get rid of him. Jampt and Arbane both nodded in agreement. Fine. Kenny asked the 2 level 2 warlocks to suppress the Warlock Tower of the Black City. He could seize this opportunity to kill the Steel Lord Yang Yi inside the Warlock Tower. Urging the magic carpet, the 3 level 2 warlocks quickly flew towards the Warlock Tower. A large number of level 4 gunner robots frenziedly fired at the sky. For the most part, the frightening metal barrage hit empty space. Only some of the bullets hit the 3 level 2 warlocks. The bullets that hit the warping force field were distorted and then shot into the distance. Abandoning the Fernando Principality's army engaging in a bitter struggle, the 3 level 2 warlocks appeared above the Black City in less than 10 minutes and flew towards the Warlock Tower. Kenny looked at the 3-story tall Warlock Tower with malice in his eyes and sneered, "Steel Lord Yang Yi, you're dead." The 3 level 2 warlocks joined hands to kill a level 1 warlock locked on by divination. Even though the level 1 warlock was hiding inside the Warlock Tower, he still couldn't escape death. Suddenly, the roofs of houses opened, and pitch-black cannons were revealed. Practically in the blink of the eye, the surroundings of the Warlock Tower formed an anti-aircraft cannon field composed of 2,037.5mm anti-aircraft cannons. Shit! Warping force field. Air shield. When Kenny saw the anti-aircraft cannons suddenly emerge down below, an ominous premonition welled up inside him, and he instantly conjured a level 1 defensive spell. Simultaneously, he activated a defensive secret treasure and unleashed a level 3 defensive spell. Boom! 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 The ear-piercing rumbling of cannons reverberated throughout the Black City in the wink of an eye, and countless red lights shot out of the city shrouded in darkness and engulfed Kenny's group. Each cannon shell was equivalent to a level 1 spell. Even if most of the cannon shells missed, there were still thousands upon thousands of shells with that slammed into the level 1 warping force field and crushed it in an instant. Terrifying cannon shells continued to barrel towards Kenny's group. Kenny's group of 3 cast 1 defensive spells after another in a split second. However, the defensive spells collapsed as soon as they appeared. Arbane was torn to shreds by the fearsome cannon shells. Before he was torn to shreds by the cannon shells, Jampt finally unleashed his bloodline morph ability, transformed into a flying Komodo snake with wings, and, with half of his body blasted to pieces, flew into the sky and disappeared in a split second. The level 3 spell Air Shield conjured by Kenny withstood the numerous shells for 3 seconds. Within those 3 seconds, Kenny quickly flipped through the pages of the Black Book, and a pair of griffin wings flew out from a black page and then landed on his back. Updated from freeobnul.com. Once he put on the griffin wings, Kenny turned around and flew away without looking back. Under the bombardment of the numerous cannon shells, he couldn't get close to the Warlock Tower. A ray shot. Kenny had just put on the wings when Yang Feng issued a command. 300 level 6-gunner robots quickly adjusted their aims and formed an all-encompassing small array. In a split second, they spat out countless flame tongues that covered the sky. The computing power, shooting speed, and accuracy of level 6-gunner robots surpassed those of level 4-gunner robots by far. The array barrage completely engulfed Kenny. No matter how he dodged, the cannon shells didn't let up, shattering his defensive spells. 10 seconds later, Kenny was devoured by the terrifying barrage and turned into countless fragments that dropped from the sky. When he saw Kenny being torn to shreds by the anti-aircraft cannons, Yang Feng mused, "Even though level 2 warlocks are formidable, but to assault my base head-on is a pipe dream. I reckon that only great warlock rank powerhouses coupled with a large number of level 3 warlocks might be able to break through the Black City. However, once the level 1 fortified stronghold is built, then even if great warlock rank powerhouses do come, there won't be anything to fear. But against powerhouses above the great warlock rank, the level 1 fortified stronghold may not cut it. Furthermore, my true body is too weak. It's easy to get rid of me with poison or curse spells." With the formidable mechanical legion, Yang Feng's sole weakness was his true body. His physical constitution was merely that of an ordinary earthling. In the Tyrannid subcontinent, such a constitution was the bottom of the barrel. Even a random peasant might be far better off than him. If hit by a random curse or plague spell, that would be it for him. Unfortunately, one escaped. Level 2 warlocks are truly freaks. Yang Feng mused regretfully. To be able to escape from under a concentrated bombardment of 2,000 anti-aircraft cannons operated by a super AI, this fully illustrates the strength of level 2 warlocks. An ordinary human would have been blasted to tatters. We lost. The mechanical legion of the Steel Lord Yang Yi is much stronger than we had expected. People of the Eye of Demonic Snake, retreat immediately. Suddenly, a very weak voice echoed in the minds of the level 1 warlocks and apprentice warlocks of the Eye of Demonic Snake. Their faces fell at once. After a brief exchange, they immediately withdrew from the battlefield and fled into the distance. When the warlocks of the Eye of Demonic Snake withdrew, the battlefield, which was in a precarious situation to begin with, collapsed like an avalanche. A large number of level 4 bladed robots killed their way into the army of the Fernando Principality from the direction of the Eye of Demonic Snake's defensive perimeter. Without the support from warlocks, the ordinary army was no match for the level 4 bladed robots, and could only be massacred. The frenzied massacre lasted for a while, before the ordinary army of the Fernando Principality began to crumble from the direction of the Eye of Demonic Snake's defensive perimeter, and retreated backwards like a tide. The Eye of Demonic Snake, a bunch of bastards. A level 1 warlock of the Fernando family gnashed his teeth and cursed when he saw the army collapse, and then sighed helplessly, "We're retreating as well." Taking advantage of the chaos, the warlocks of the Fernando family and the Fong of White Bear quickly retreated. The Bloodbat Knights in midair also left the battlefield. After losing its core forces, the ordinary army collapsed completely, and the routed soldiers fled helter-skelter. Under the siege of the level 4 bladed robots, a large number of the routed soldiers chose to surrender. Chapter 29 Scarlet Hands Blitz. Chapter 29 Scarlet Hands Blitz. Translator: Zayamoj. The Southern States Coalition was an alliance formed by 10 principalities as well as nearly 100 lesser states, many of which only had a single city. The Warlock College Antalya was located in the heart of the Southern States Coalition. It was in control of all the member states of the Southern States Coalition. The headquarters of the Warlock College Antalya, the St. Collins City, was the only city within the Southern States Coalition whose population surpassed 5 million people. FGIWBNAVUL.com. The St. Collins City within an inn. Alan's eyebrows creased tightly as he mused, "Damn it all! The Warlock College Antalya has yet to grant me an audience. Are they set on getting rid of the mighty Steel Lord?" It had been 10+ days since Alan arrived at the St. Collins City. During this time, as if he had been forgotten, no one from the Warlock College Antalya has contacted him, making him restless. Once the Warlock College Antalya was set on disposing of the Steel Lord Yang Yi, then Alan's situation would become extremely perilous. No matter how resourceful he was, but Alan was too short of a time in the St. Collins City after all. He had too little information, and so there was nothing he could do. "Mr. Allen, Sir Colne of the Warlock College Antalya requests to see you." After knocking on the door, the very courteous voice of a waitress came from the other side of the door. Alan's eyes lit up, and he immediately got up and opened the door. Next to the waitress stood a 35 or 36-year-old official level, 1 warlock dressed in a white warlock robe with a silver thread on the cuffs. The warlock smiled lightly, saying, "Are you Alan? I am Colne of the Warlock College Antalya." "Sir Colne, I am Alan." Alan put his right hand on his chest and bowed slightly towards Colne. In Tyrannid subcontinent, whenever an apprentice warlock met an official warlock, they had to salute the latter. This was a necessary etiquette. Otherwise, some narrow-minded warlocks might attack and kill fellows ignorant of the etiquette. Colne uttered with a smile, "Please come with me. Sir Blitz wants to see you." Alan's eyes flashed with astonishment, and he cried out, "Sir Blitz! Is it Sir Scarlet Hands Blitz?" The Scarlet Hands Blitz was a very powerful level 3 warlock in the Tyrannid subcontinent. He once destroyed a lesser state and killed 2 level 3 warlocks by himself. Below the Great Warlock rank, he was the number 1 powerhouse of the Warlock College Antalya, as well as the powerhouse most promising to advance to the Great Warlock rank. The bigwigs whom Alan had met previously were merely level 1 warlocks. Now, however, he was going to meet a level 3 warlock. Naturally, he was shocked and excited. A level 3 warlock was not someone that a nobody like him could meet. Colne spoke with a smile. "Yes, it is Sir Scarlet Hands Blitz." Alan calmed down and said politely, "Then, Sir Colne, please lead the way." With Colne taking the lead, the two arrived at a wide conference hall in the St. Collins City. When Alan stepped into the conference hall, he saw level Two warlocks sit on both sides of the hall emitting terrifying auras. In the seat of honor sat a silver-haired middle-aged man who looked to be in his 40s or 50s, dressed in a scarlet warlock robe with 3 silver threads on the cuffs. When Alan looked the silver-haired middle-aged man in the eyes, he shuddered immediately and felt a sharp pain in his eyes as if he was looking at 2 dazzling suns, and his soul shook on the brink of collapse. Terrifying. Is this the strength of a level 3 warlock? That's too terrifying. Alan had a splitting headache, his mind brimming with horror and dread. He was clear that Scarlet Hand's Blitz didn't have to do anything. He could kill him with just a glance. This was the strength of a peak warlock of the Tyrannid subcontinent. A level 2 warlock sitting on one side of the conference hall waved his hand, and a rainbow-colored radiance enveloped Alan. Feeling much better, Alan heaved a long sigh of relief. Blitz looked at Alan and asked apathetically, "Alan, why did Yang Yi send you here?" "Excuse me, are you Sir Scarlet Hand's Blitz?" "I am," Alan said in a neither servile nor overbearing tone. "The mighty Sir Steel Lord Yang Yi sent me here because he wishes to supplant the Fernandro Principality and Cineris Principality, establish a new principality based on the territory of the 2 states, succeed the rights and duties of both principalities, and serve the great Warlock College in Talia. If you consent, the mighty Sir Steel Lord Yang Yi can quell all resistance in the Fernando Principality within a month's time." Quell all resistance in the Fernando Principality within a month's time. How braggadocious. No, maybe he can really do it. Kenny and Arbane are dead, and Jamt is seriously injured. Reportedly, half of his body was shredded. Up.dfrmfreewebnovel.com. However, to want to swallow the Fernando Principality and Cineris Principality, Yang Ye's appetite is really great. He can't even get the Fernando Principality, yet he still wants the Cineris Principality. What a greedy fellow. After listening to Alan, the level 2 warlocks in the conference hall began to discuss in hushed voices. Magic fluctuations pervaded the hall, and Alan wasn't able to hear what the level 2 warlocks discussed. Blitz spoke coldly, "Impossible. The Fernando Principality and Cineris Principality can't be handed over to you." Alan smiled faintly and said, "If the Sirs of the Warlock College Antalya are unwilling to hand over both principalities, Sir Yang Yi told me to say that we can only choose to side with the Savage Claw. Surely, the Sirs of the Savage Claw will support our takeover of both principalities." The Savage Claw. Fuck. If he truly sides with the Savage Claw, then that will be troublesome. This fellow wants to side with the Savage Claw. What an asshole. The level 2 warlocks in the conference hall stared at Alan with eyes full of wrath. The Savage Claw was a mortal enemy of the Warlock College Antalya. Neither party knew how long they had been fighting, nor how many of their warlocks died at the hands of the other party. The hatred between them ran deep and couldn't be dispelled. Now, after hearing that the Steel Lord Yang Yi wanted to side with the Savage Claw, they were immediately filled with ire and killing intent. Blitz's voice turned chilly and carried ghastly killing intent. "Are you threatening me?" Alan responded faintly, "No, I'm just narrating a possible scenario." Chapter 30 Shur Shui. Chapter 30 Shur Shui. Translator, Zayamoj. Alan spoke deferentially towards Blitz. "I, Alan, was born in the Fernando Principality. The Fernando Principality is my homeland. If I had a choice, I wouldn't want to betray my homeland. Thus, I desperately appealed to the great Sir Steel Lord Yang Yi and eventually moved him. Just hand him the Fernando Principality and the West Ocean City of the Cineris Principality, and he will agree to side with the Warlock College Antalya and send his only kin to join the Warlock College Antalya and tread the Warlock path. Simultaneously, the Steel City will become a guard of the Warlock College Antalya. So long as he's there, the powerhouses of the Savage Claw won't be able to pass through his territory to attack the Southern States Coalition. This condition isn't bad. Since Yang Yi can defeat the Fernando family, we stand to gain a powerful helper if he really sides with the Warlock College Antalya. No way. The Fernando family is affiliated with the Warlock College Antalya. If their family perishes, what will the remaining families think? This will shake the rule of the Warlock Academy Antalya. The Fernando family must be preserved. Otherwise, the foundation and the rule of the Warlock College Antalya will be destabilized. The level 2 warlocks in the conference hall had a heated discussion. Some advocated that Yang Yi should be absorbed into the sphere of influence of the Warlock College Antalya, while others were determined to protect the Fernandro family. Blitz pondered for a moment before saying unhurriedly, "The Fernandro family has been loyal to the Warlock College Antalya for years, and there had been no major mistakes from their part. We can't give it up. The West Ocean City is the richest port of the Sonaris Principality. It can't be given to you either. Change your conditions." Of the 3 level 2 warlocks that attacked the Black City, 2 were killed and 1 came back heavily injured. They didn't even get to see the Steel Lord. The Warlock College Antalya attached great importance to the strength of Yang Feng's Mechanical Legion. Even a jagged character like Blitz couldn't help but to weigh this matter repeatedly after Yang Feng revealed the intention to side with them. Alan took another step back. In that case, in addition to the current border, the Fernandro Principality still has to cede 3 cities, namely the Gold Sand City, Hardwood City, and Brilliant Rock City. Additionally, it has to compensate us with 300,000 magic stones and 10 vials of blue Mirage Banshee elixir capable of altering the soul aptitude of cultivators. Like this, I'm able to persuade the mighty Sir Steel Lord Yang Yi to accept your conditions, side with the Warlock College Antalya, and send his only kin to join the Warlock College Antalya to tread the Warlock path. He's really daring. 10 vials of the blue Mirage Banshee elixir is enough for an apprentice warlock with a superior level 3 soul aptitude to promote to an intermediate level for soul aptitude. Although the blue Mirage Banshee elixir is precious, but if it can drive the Steel Lord Yang Yi side with the Warlock College Antalya, then it's worth it. The level 2 warlocks inside the hall commented. In the end, most of the level 2 warlocks agreed to Alan's conditions. "We agree to your conditions." Blitz's gaze shifted and fell on an elderly man with white hair and beard. "Uterax, tomorrow you'll leave for the Black City and sign the contract with the Steel Lord." Uterax saluted Blitz respectfully, saying, "Yes, sir." The Black City, on the underground floor of the Warlock Tower. Cracks appeared on the eggshell of the unknown life form atop the altar. Yang Feng's spirit was slightly roused. Lately, as if a hen, he stayed on the altar most of the time, waiting for the life form inside the egg to hatch. Finally, the life form inside the egg was hatching, filling him with expectations. Facing the huge egg, Yang Feng put his palms together and muttered to himself, "I'm not asking for much. Since it's something from a taboo stone, it should be really good. I will be perfectly satisfied with a dragon, a Xuanhuan, a Cerberus, or some other kind of mythological beast cub. I want a badass mythological beast." During the time the Second Warlock Dynasty, powerful warlocks conquered numerous planes and captured many powerful beings to carry out a variety of taboo research. Puny life forms and secret treasures didn't have the qualifications to be sealed in taboo stones. It was for this reason that Yang Feng had such expectation of the huge egg. Under Yang Feng's expect gaze, the huge egg broke open. Inside the huge egg was curled up an adorable, angel-like little girl about 6 years old, with waist-length hair and jade-white skin. "What the fuck? Are you messing with me? What about the powerful, contracted beast?" Yang Feng's eyes widened as he watched the 6-year-old little girl climb out of the huge egg, and he felt like weeping. He planned to get a powerful, contracted beast, after which he would have a huge meat shield and powerful hired thug while treading the warlock path. Instead, a 6-year-old lowly appeared before him, and he felt like weeping. The lowly opened her eyes and stared at Yang Feng with her bright, limpid big eyes. Yang Feng looked at the pure, limpid, and beautiful like black gems eyes of the lowly, and the annoyance in his heart melted away and was supplanted with affection. Forget it! To start with an Eastern lowly isn't bad either. On the Tyrannid subcontinent, Westerners occupied the mainstream position. Reportedly, there were a lot of Easterners on the far-off continent. But on the Tyrannid subcontinent, there were very few Easterners, let alone adorable lolis like this one. The lowly gave Yang Feng a sweet, pitiable smile and reached out with her little snow-white hands. With a tender expression, Yang Feng picked up the pitiable lowly. When the lowly was embraced by him, she giggled, then raised her little snow-white hands and emitted a mysterious power. New novel chapters are published on fguriwebnovel.com. The fragments of the huge egg scattered on the altar flew into the lowly's hands. Making clanking sounds, she chomped on the fragments of the huge egg. She grew a bit with every fragment that she gnawed on. 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old. The lowly grew quickly and soon turned into a 13-year-old beautiful girl with beautiful, long black hair, plump twin peaks, and a seductive body. Yang Feng looked at the transforming lowly and confirmed again that the she wasn't human, but rather some other life form. Big brother, thanks for hatching me. You are the best. The beautiful, fairy-like girl threw herself into Yang Feng's embrace and said sweetly. Yang Feng caressed the beautiful black hair of the beautiful, fairy-like girl and said with a smile, "You hatched from a stone and have snow-like skin. Henceforth, I'll call you Xuanhuan, too." Xuanhuan smiled sweetly at Yang Feng and said, "Oh, okay." Yang Feng clapped his hands. Shortly after, a robot walked in with a black Lolita dress. Xuanhuan exuded an astonishing charm after she put on the black Lolita dress. Seeing this, Yang Feng's heart stirred slightly, and there was a feeling of awe. One Fenghuang. 2 Xuanhuan Xie. Xue equals stone. Xue equals snow. We've reached the end of today's episode. Thank you for traversing the boundless landscapes of fantasy with us. If today's story has sparked joy within you, please remember to hit the like button, share our journey with others, and subscribe to Lord of the Stories for an ever-expanding collection of mystical escapades. Until we meet again to turn the page to a new adventure, hold the tales dear in your heart and let the embers of magic warmly glow in your spirit. Farewell, intrepid explorers of the narrative unknown.